It's May 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m. and I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills Town Board to order. The notice is posted at the Town Hall and on the town website. Can we get a motion of the adoption of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt May's agenda.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Can we get, is there any discussion on the approval of the minutes?
I can make a motion to approve the public hearing minutes of the April meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'd make a motion to approve the monthly meeting minutes of April 20th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Discussion of the treasurer's report.
I'd make a motion to approve the treasurer's report for May.
Give me a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of the town board expense sheets. Can we get a motion to?
We have to do disbursements.
Oh, disbursements.
Yep.
Okay.
No, we do the expense sheets first. That way this is approved for that check to
Gotcha.
be approved during
Sorry,
the
Tom.
disbursement.
Even listed that way.
Yep,
You want these signed?
yeah, please.
These are,
Just go ahead and pass that one around and we'll get signatures when you approve it.
This is one we have here, also in our packet.
Yeah, he's passing it around
Yeah.
there.
that's the only one we had, right, Tom's?
Right, just John Tom's is not. Just need a motion for the approval.
Can we get a motion to approval of the town board expense sheets?
I'd make a motion to approve this expense sheet for town.
Can we get,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of the general fund vouching.
I make a motion to approve May's disbursements of $44,227.85.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Reports. Start off with Chief Miller.
We had 40 hours of road patrol for the month of April, handled 9 complaints, spent 5.5 hours on those complaints. Had 16 traffic stops, 4 warnings, 14 citations were issued, spent 13.5 hours running stationary radar. Did 7 residence and business checks, 16 park checks, and 5 extra patrols during that time. The boat is out on the water, was just put out this afternoon. And the PWC is ready, so they will be going out shortly.
Excellent.
Other than that, that's about it.
Thank you, Chief Miller. Plan Commission report.
We only had one, there was 2 property owners representing the last 4 properties on the end of Sandy Beach Road. We're here looking for information on possibly vacating up that portion, west portion of Sandy Beach Road. But they were just here for information. They got plenty of it. So they're rethinking what they want to do.
Yep. Excellent, thanks, Jim. The Cambridge Fire and EMS report.
We met on the 29th of April, I guess it was. Cash were set relatively well early in the year, $57,574 available in the checking. Our CDs were up for renewal, so normally we don't fund the reserve for the EMS or the fire department until the end of the year to make sure that we have the money. But since the CDs came due, we went ahead and funded those $20,000 each. And the CDs, we went from Badger Bank, which was 0.20, to Deerfield Bank at 0.45 for 2 years. So then the other thing was on our intergovernmental agreement we had with the town of Christiana on the pizza pit property that the town of Christiana purchased for $280,000 that through the referendum had to pass by majority to, and then the commission then would buy that land from the town of Christiana. And would have 7 years to do that along with the potential expansion of the fire station. But since it did not pass by majority, we have to take a look at, first of all, we're waiting to see what the electors of town of Christiana want to do. If they want to go ahead with it, then we have to just rewrite the intergovernmental agreement and take by referendum out to make it fit what's going on, so. Then also, let's see. Then we discussed about the building review committee and to meet, I believe, every couple of weeks. And then we're gonna go to monthly meetings to keep updated with that. So that was gonna consist of the fire chief and his assistant, the EMS director and his assistant, 2 at-large citizens, and then 1 town board member other than a commission member. And Jim, have you guys had, Jim's
Yep.
raised his hand for that one, so. Have you had your first meeting yet?
13th. Yeah,
13th.
Thursday evening, 6 o'clock.
So mainly what that's gonna be is we've spent 6 years working on this thing. We went through the needs assessment of, Jim you'll be able to cut to the chase because we measured lockers and turnout gear and length of trucks and so all that stuff is done. So now what you guys are gonna be kind of doing is going through, it's like, what does it want? What's it need? You know, we picked it out, the exterior to kind of match the library, town hall, or the city hall, and be in the frontage coming in. Well, masonry is kind of maybe a want, or some other steel or something might be, a need. So those are the kind of things you guys are gonna look at. So at least you don't have to start from ground zero. You'll be able to start using some of the information we already have going there, so. But it'll be lengthy.
Yeah, it sounds like they're gonna do 13th and then the 20th right away, so we're gonna
And
stay.
only Jim will be attending, so there's no need to post, right?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, we're not allowed there because we sit too close to it.
Got it.
So thanks, Jim, for doing that.
Yeah.
And let's see, I think. Yeah, the only thing other that's going on there is the new fire truck. The chassis is supposed to be completed sometime in June or August. Then the commission will be borrowing $255,000 to pay for that chassis. And then the rest will be due upon delivery, which will be approximately another $250,000. So for a total of $518, I think is what the truck was purchased at. That's the pony show.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Joint Rock Lake Committee report. I don't think we have anybody present, so I can give that one, set in on that one. They basically, they did not assign chain of command, obviously because we're an appointee short. And we heard today that we are another appointee short, but we don't have written confirmation of that yet.
Yeah, he did late tonight.
You did?
He did confirm, yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps. Great news.
Yeah.
Excellent news. So they listed off a few of their tasks. A lot of their tasks were from 2019, and they also inquired if the board had heard about moving the slow no wake buoys from 100 feet to 200 feet. And I reported back to them that we had not listened to it, and it would probably be a tough task, being that there seems to be some missing pieces to the puzzle in their plan to make that recommendation to the board. So there's work yet to do on that task. And that was about the gist of Joint Rock Lake Committee report. Public Works report. I don't believe John's present. So, no report.
No.
Public comment. Does anyone want to make public comment tonight? Moving on. Applications, discussion and decision of request for special event for the Lake Mills Triathlon made by Ken Ellingson of Race Day Events to be held on June 6, 2021.
Is there anybody here for that? Yep.
Yep. Please state your name.
I'm Ken Ellingson, representing Race Day Events on behalf of the Lake Mills Triathlon.
I have a question on, and I don't have a problem with the event, but in your write-up, it says that various roads in the town of Lake Mills. We need to know what roads, when, and which way you're traveling.
Those roads were all submitted with the regular portion of the permit application. Included in a map I attached to
There were
the
links.
There's
There were
links.
links to maps, but you didn't provide the maps.
Oh,
Yeah, there's links on page, well, there's no page number, so it's.
It's on one of the printed out ones, yeah.
Nope. It's just a link,
There's 3 links.
swim, bike, and run.
unchanged from last year. Let me pull it up real quick. So
No, it's links.
No, they're links to a website that show those
I tried to
routes.
bring them up too, and I couldn't bring them up.
I couldn't bring them up.
I couldn't bring it up.
I got the insignia picture with the
Right.
my apologies on that. The roads are Topol Street going southbound. Let's see.
I have a lot of questions.
My map isn't displaying the road names right now. I don't have great service in here, but I can email that later tonight for your review. But the route does go in a counterclockwise direction, exiting on Topol Street and coming back on Rock Lake Road. Southernmost point that runs west to east. Let's see. It's not displaying for me.
And you don't know them off the top of your head then either.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Can you bring your link up?
I think he's trying, I
I
don't
don't
think.
have any service in this room.
Oh, okay, I thought you were,
Sorry about
I thought
that.
you were
It's
bringing
really
it up.
good to have paper copies of these maps, so.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, because then Matt
Safety
needs that
needs
stuff
it,
too.
Yeah, like I said, it is unchanged from the last however many years that we've been doing this.
I'm
race
new,
here.
so
I
I
wanna say
need
7.
to, yeah, I
Yeah.
need to review
Each
them.
year's a new application.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have any questions. You said you did.
Yeah. As far as the safety plan, can you please explain it because it's pretty vague? And I know there's some concern and we'll probably hear that from local EMS and potentially law enforcement as well. I know there's a COVID safety plan in here that was on the front page, but it speaks of a packet pickup or a packet, and that maybe there's some safety information in that packet.
Packet pickup refers to the race packets, which is standard at all races outside of COVID. So things like multi-sport timing tag, race bib, t-shirt, and other base runner sponsors. So packets are independent of the COVID safety plan. The reason that was mentioned is because it is a point of potential mass gathering, and we are extending that on the front end for the day of. It will be at Trek West in Madison the day before the event with extended hours and social distancing enforced there. As far as the race day packet pickup goes, that will also be indicated or marked with cones and or flags, tape indicating 6 feet apart for people to stand at so that they don't mass gather.
Okay. As far as distancing and things like that and spreading out, and this is a lot of people, 600 to 700. Do you have a confirmation on a total number yet, or?
It will be a max of 660 people.
Okay. I noticed you have start times listed and you have these waves. Do you have any idea how many people are going to be in each wave? And can you provide that information? Because I think that's really crucial as people, and I'm not sure if you're staggering times into the water, like are you 10 seconds apart or are they all running together? Or?
Yeah, that's what those times listed are the start times in the water. So wave.
Is that all together or like, because that to me reads like that group who does elites and relays, that's a group, right? Am I
Yep,
reading
a
that
group
correctly?
of, it will be approximately 50 people.
And they're all gonna storm into the water together.
They're going to be starting in the water, and we will indicate sufficient, I guess, left marker and right marker on the beach going into the water for people to be able to spread out, as well as stand on the beach if they're not comfortable starting in the water.
Okay, I think it would be really good and helpful for especially in any patrols that are gonna be, from a safety aspect, whether it's lifeguards or, and I don't know, because that wasn't stated in here as well, as how many lifeguards you have medical professionals, I don't know who they are, is that?
Right, and that's independent of the COVID safety plan. In our standard safety plan, we have lifeguards on staff provided by typically Verona Public Schools, based out of the Madison area. We have anywhere from 10 to 20 lifeguards posted around the course, as well as EMS support from the city of Lake Mills on standby.
Okay.
Did you provide that safety plan with the application? Because I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I don't have it, we don't have a safety plan at all, that's why I'm asking these questions.
I run that through the city of Lake Mills, just because we've never had an issue with that in the past. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the bike course is the portion that goes through the town, correct?
We have jurisdiction over the lake as well.
Do you? Okay. So as far as staging on the beach though, and the transition area, that is what I communicate with the city of Lake Mills Parks as far as, or in addition to city police support. Jefferson County Emergency Communications also provides support on the bike course.
I think because it's also helpful, and I could be completely wrong here, though, for the town to know that information too.
And again,
Because obviously,
that was never requested of me, and it was not requested in the past either.
right, well, I'm just saying, we're all for, having fun. I think these are great events. But to my knowledge, I think somebody passed away 2 years ago, and I think that should be taken very seriously.
And we did take
And-
that very seriously.
Yep, and I also feel that you always have to remember that the safety, the EMS, law enforcement, firefighters, you're putting somebody else's life in jeopardy too if they have to make a rescue. And so you have to take that into consideration. And so
Believe me.
providing them with a complete plan, with numbers going into the water, that level of detail is incredibly helpful for those people.
That is communicated and shared with all police, EMS, and Jefferson County Community Support or Emergency Communication Support. That plan is relayed and communicated to all of them. It's just from the town side that's never been asked to be provided before.
Okay, well, it's going to be asked tonight and going forward. And
Understandable.
I expect that we, if there is any type of approval of this event, that is a condition that we receive that information. And had specified in the box the 13 to 15 support, it'd be good to know who, where are they coming from, like, who are they, where are they coming from, that type, just specifying all that information, that level of detail, that just helps everybody plan, because we've got, I don't know, what is it, a month, a little less than a month. So it's really gonna send, law
Start this process
enforcement
in January.
and EMS to, no, but it's gonna force them to scramble a little bit, because they don't have this sitting right in front of them, all the information and level of detail from the safety aspect.
Correct.
So trying to plan amongst all their other duties they have to do, you can imagine, causes a little extra stress in a very short time period.
I think it's causing me a little bit of stress to be here within this close distance to the race, if I'm being totally honest.
That's all I have. Dave, would you like to say anything from EMS?
Well, you've pretty much addressed a lot of the things that I was going to. I will say that nobody's contacted us, and I'm the chief, so.
Right, we've been waiting for approval from the town.
So nobody has contacted us in any way, shape, or form. We take care of both the city and township, so we didn't know if this was going on or when it was going on. And the big thing is that right now we do not have staffing. Staffing is very difficult for something like this. And I've also met with fire as recent as today, and they can't commit to it, so.
I have permits approved through the city currently. It was my understanding that knowledge was dispersed to police, EMS, and fire through them.
Actually, I talked to Megan Dunheisen today over at the city regarding this, and it is not fully approved. You've got signatures of a few of the department heads, but not all of them have approved it yet.
That was not communicated to me.
And law enforcement has not been contacted. Our boat patrol is always out there, but nothing's been coordinated with us on our boat patrol, with our officers out there on the boats.
Have you read the town ordinance on this? It's on the website.
Which town ordinance?
The special events ordinance, 5-24.
Yeah.
You don't have approval from the county yet either.
No, sir.
Yeah.
I have contacted Brian from Jefferson County, but because I don't have this route finalized yet, he has nothing to weigh in on yet, because I don't know which route I'll be using.
So are they waiting for the town to make a decision on the routes?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't know what the roads are.
I don't know, yeah. I don't know.
Is there any way you can get that yet tonight? Like if we kind of had you come back in after you got it in a few minutes?
Want me to help them
Yeah.
with internet in the office or something, maybe?
Yeah, would you?
The password, maybe to the Wi-Fi, see if you can get a map emailed to you somehow or something, and then you can print it off.
Is it okay? You up for that?
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
I'm up for it. I want to see it work, but there's a lot of red flags here, with no city approval, no county approval, and it tells me that preparedness is a little bit weak. So that tends to lead me into that safety plan, like, that's pretty disconcerting to a board.
With all due respect, I started this permit process in January, and because of COVID and you've just now decided to entertain this race, there hasn't been a lot of pieces that I can have in place to get final approval from the necessary parties.
Right, I understand that, but we just lifted, because we weren't even going to take any special requests until September 2020, this year, September 2021. And we just lifted that because we felt, we needed to get things going, so it's actually ended up being a luxury to get these things, up and running and going. But, if you've been preparing for that long, I mean, we should have been handed something on our plate with a pretty good level of detail. I've been in planning for a long time and processes, and I know what it takes, and I know level of detail it takes to do some of these things. You know, and that preparedness, and if it was fully prepared, we would be seeing that right now. But with that said, I think let's try to get this for this year, but going forward, know that you know, you have to come really prepared for this, because the leniency period is gonna end at the board level as far as incomplete applications.
And I did copy all information submitted in previous applications for this one. And I was not told to provide any more.
Okay, so you're gonna,
Probably helping.
yeah, we'll just,
We can move on to
So we'll just
the next, postpone this one.
I would like to just make one statement. If there is not enough staffing from the EMS, they will have to get their own private entity. And I want to remind them that if they do that, they do have to follow state standards, so they will have to go through DHS 110.44, which means that the plan has got to be submitted to the state and approved at least 14 business days, so we're already on it. So I just want to make that clear now.
Is that an emergency plan? Is that what that is?
No, that's a special event plan.
Okay.
That's DHS 110.44.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, discussion and or decision to request a special event for the ride by Jill Schmitz.
Schmitz here for the ride.
Right.
Strike away.
We're all warmed up, we're ready for it.
the only question I have is who crossed off this indemnification and hold harmless?
Yeah, so that's part of the university. I send all contracts or applications to the university, and that's on a university level because we're under the state. So the state actually has that. I don't know if the full language is in there. I can send that separately, but I've been instructed, because we are a state entity, that's what gets crossed off and new language put in for any sort of contract.
So,
I
would've
would
been nice to see the
recommend-
new language.
Yeah, I would recommend, if that's the case,
Yeah.
refer to that and then show what the new language is, rather than actually marking up our permit.
Okay. And I could do.
Or call with questions when you don't know, you know,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Do you want me just to send that via email?
I think that would be
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I'll let you guys decide that.
yeah, an email to the town,
Okay,
put that in.
I can send that.
Chief Miller, he stepped out here, but the only question I had is, I think he had really good, you know, you got good written detail of the map. Is it possible to get like the town visual aspect of that
Yeah.
versus this micro whole race you know,
Sure,
tour
yeah.
guide? Because they're gonna need that, EMS is gonna need that, and any like checkpoints that you have or what, you know, those types of things. Getting that level of detail to them is really imperative, you know, so they can do their, you know, their best job.
Sure.
It is in the, well, it is in the written part, the description.
It's written, it's just a little
Yeah, I know.
confusing, there's
No,
arrows
graphic.
going.
Town roads, you wouldn't know which ones apply to us.
Yep, I can do that, and it'll probably just be in
I'm a
multiple.
visual person, sorry. that's-
Totally get that. It'll probably just be in multiple pictures, just because it spans kind of a weird, but that way you can get the detail.
That's not a
So,
problem.
Okay,
There's a little bit on for the rest stop,
yeah.
Yeah.
not the full route.
The other thing I'd like to have you do is on your route map, put arrows, which
Sure.
way your direction of traffic is.
Can you just show me what map you have, just so I'm not sending you
It's
the
just this
exact
little-
same map?
There's a little one, and
Oh, okay, yep, I can, yes,
that's
I
kind
can
of the
send
whole
you.
race
No big
course.
deal.
Yep,
And then there's
um,
one here, it's
yep.
just kind of shrunk down, but it's hard, you can't really see
Yep.
the roads or anything on it.
Yeah, I have another map, that's why I wanted to know, because that's the one, like the ride GPS one, but we have like an actual, like, detailed map that we have a designer make, so I can send you that, yep.
We just have to make sure, because we don't allow any two-way traffic, so everything is a
Yep.
complete loop.
Yep, so on that map, I know that doesn't help you right now, but on the map, we come from Marshall, down, go
Okay.
around Lake Mills, heading south, west to Deerfield. So we basically go in a clockwise motion, starting on the west from Madison. Yeah.
What's the date of that one?
September 26th. It's a Sunday. Fourth Sunday in September.
You have a little more time on that one, Dave.
I'm like sweating about September, so.
But you started early, so that's good.
Yeah, that's real good. Can we get you you signed it but didn't date it too, the application form?
The what was that?
You didn't date the application form?
Oh, yep.
Just
I
make
can
sure
do that.
that gets accomplished as well. I don't know that they have any.
So, just so I can understand when you look at the numbered areas for the roads
Yep.
here, does the town of Lake Mills start about item 21 on these lists? And that starts with County Road O, and then it goes on to Newville Road?
Yes.
Or is that
Starts at Newville
starts at Newville, okay.
on, yep, 22, line 22.
And then it goes probably out to 134, and then it switches over to a different,
Till 30.
to
22 to 30
31.
is in town of Lake Mills.
Yep.
Got it.
Did you submit any kind of liability form?
No, that's still coming from UW as well.
That will come from UW.
We applied back for insurance in February, and because of our event, the biking portion of it, they always take forever, but that is, you've
And you're
been.
talking about the certificate of
Yep.
insurance? Okay.
Yep, that is in the works. I'm hoping by June 1. Because unfortunately, you are not the only entity who needs it, so we are trying to get them to give us that. But it has been applied for the town.
And you didn't list support person, and like, I don't think there's numbers there for any of that unless it was somewhere else in this document.
Okay.
But if you've got kind of a list of medical professionals.
Oh,
that-
yep.
All that stuff.
Okay.
That would be really helpful for law enforcement and EMS and as well as the board to have.
Yep.
So they're well prepared.
And then for that, we have at all of our like rest stops, that's where we have obviously like the volunteers, but we also have like our medical personnel. Do you want the numbers of those people as well as the course people, like anybody on course and at the rest stop?
I would just list them all and I mean, if you can give the level of detail of kind of who's where, I think it helps them out tremendously too.
And on that too will be our main number back to our main headquarters site, because that's what's on all of the bikers' bibs to call for any non-emergencies, like whatever have you, and there's an actual dispatcher there, so I can provide that
idea.
for you.
Yeah, good idea. Great to hear. So I think this, I'm good as long as it's the contingent we get received.
I was gonna
the
say, I
rest of
would
the materials.
recommend that you make a contingent that the certificate of insurance and that these other items that you'd like to see are in hand before I send out the
So you want a
signed
map and a
permit.
certificate of insurance, right? And
Certificate of
list of
insurance
people.
map and the better detail of
And the
this
support.
safety plan and
Yep.
personnel.
I'd make a motion to approve the special event permit for September 26th, 2021 with those conditions.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Great. And just I just say this is a disclaimer as well. The university they're following county guidelines, but they're also following their own guidelines that are a little stricter. So I will also keep you posted if anything were to change regarding events, just in case they would make us, go virtual or something like that. So that you know that we wouldn't be on course that day, but
Do you want to move on to the,
good? Okay.
great, thank you
all right,
very
thank
much.
Yep. Next one. Schwartz and
Discussion or decision of request for rezone made by Rick Schwartz of Lot 1 from AT to R1 on parcel 018-0713-1522-040 for residential lot in conjunction with the previous petition filed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Moni?
So Rick Schwartz, my wife Christine Schwartz. The packet that's in front of you is pretty detailed. A number of you have obviously seen this over the last year and a half that we've been going through this process of working with the city and the county and the town and all sort of associated people that were involved with this. So basically at this point, at the last meeting, this rezone of Lot 1 was tabled until the county had made a decision on the variance request. The variance request was unanimously approved by the County Board of Adjustments. So therefore, now we're back for this topic to be discussed on the rezone from AT to R1 for Lot 1. Previously at the other Plan Commission and Town Board meetings, the lot was approved for Lot 2. So that's a separate topic that was completely unanimously approved. And then obviously the Board of Adjustments. So the detail is in front of you for all those items. Just to kind of recap it quickly, just because I know that you're a little bit newer to the detail on this. So we own the 96 acres that are basically encompassing this area all the way up and through here. This is in the 15-year growth plan for the area. It's an AT designation for the zoning, which at the time of demand for residential, it is meant to go to R1. Hence the reason we're seeking that as a reasonable petition and request. Most of the land here is because of the unique topography of it, either wetland or, the topography is pretty sloping and rolling. And so therefore we're really only left with 2 potential lots to develop on the property, which is completely fine by us. You can see here, again, on the maps that you have, Lot 2 that was previously approved and Lot 1 that we're looking for tonight. The other one will become the outlot for the rest of the area, and then the additional area going up to County Road B, that would all stay into and be enrolled into another 25-year plan for the managed forest land. So that would be just renewed at that time. So really what we're looking to do is put 2 lots on this land, really leave all of it, the rest of it, into managed forest land for recreational purposes for our family to enjoy, to raise our kids, which we have 3 kids. So that is really our petition tonight. All the detail is in here for everything that we've done along the way, so we're kind of looking for this final piece of the puzzle to proceed forward. So please let us know if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions. Dave, you have any questions?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. One, with the 2 lots, other than the highway frontage, that shuts you off from any access to that property. So if you're ever gonna do any further development, it would have to come off Highway B through that wetland and all that. So you guys, I'm assuming, understand that, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we know that there are really 2 lots here. There really is no future development here. Even beyond these 2 residential lots, you're not developing anything beyond this. So it's not reasonable or economical to do so.
Yep. Then the other thing, in the existing drainage ditch, on here it's listed as stream, the culvert that's going underneath the driveway, that elevation is going to be the same as the culvert downstream? Or what do you have planned there?
I guess I don't know offhand. I kind of left that up to the engineer and their report to look at that. I can certainly find out the details of that, but I know that was all fully engineered out and made sure that it would work and everything would flow based on different floodplains. So I don't know that specifically because I'm not the engineer on it, but I know that they did work through all those details. I know a lot of those details are provided in the report that they provided from the civil engineer.
I guess my concern with the thing is this is gonna get a little personal because we now will be your neighbor and that drainage ditch drains our property to the north and west. So when you set that culvert, this is where it gets personal, I'd really like to have you clean and pan that ditch out to yours and my property line because we need to continue up and clean out the windfalls and all the sediment that's in there. So if you could, just as a favor.
Yeah, I mean, we don't unfortunately have a whole lot of the drainage ditch that is on our property. A lot of it is on all the neighbors' properties around
Right.
us. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll certainly maintain our drainage area and the right-of-way of the water there, but we'll do what we can, but I don't
Yeah,
have a
'cause-
lot of water right use there.
I just don't want to get shut off because then, that would be a whole nother subject with a drainage district.
So where is your I don't even know where your property is, excuse me.
Where you have, if you go further to the west,
Okay.
where the line is,
Yep.
when you get to that corner, that's where I start.
Okay, so you're really adjacent right next to us?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have just a question. I'm looking at this sideways here. So you guys were buying, or have bought the land behind, what was the DNR land? Or is still the DNR land, and you're going to come off of Sherwood Meadows?
We didn't buy any DNR land.
It was just, yeah, I'm on Woodville Lane, and I'm the HOA president of that. So
Sure.
I'm just trying to figure out where this is.
So this property is these three right here, these three parcels.
Okay, and how are you accessing them? From where?
From Sherwood Hills Road, Sherwood Meadows Circle.
Isn't that where Lost Lake is?
Lost Lake is,
Right, yeah.
Right here.
okay.
So this has no ramifications
For wetlands?
for wetlands?
The driveway here has some wetland impact, which was approved by the Wisconsin DNR and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So it's about 2,500 square feet of wetland impact that was approved.
And
Really?
where? Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, I knew that this was sold, I just never heard any.
Sure.
We're way behind who's the vice president of the HOA. So
Because
here's
there's
the
that
way we kind of
cul-de-sac
involved
down
this.
the road, that's the DNR access.
We had nothing to say about it, I'm just trying to figure out
Sure.
where you're,
Yeah,
what you're doing. Okay.
yeah, we just put our house like up here. On the top.
Yep. Maybe on top of the ridge. That's right here. That would overlook Lost Lake.
So you're gonna be sort of behind Palins then? You know them?
No, that's not where this is.
They are.
That's
No.
not where this is. No,
Woodfield Lane is way over there.
that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're over here, I believe. Well,
Down.
Whitfield
Yeah,
Lane
yeah.
down this way.
They would be more behind Seeds.
More behind,
They're
yes.
gonna be more behind Seeds.
Right. Yeah. Off of Sherwood Hills.
So,
Okay.
so the only spot that you're developing is this little square here where you're building?
These two. That's it. The rest
Oh,
will
so
stick.
it's two residential areas?
That's it.
Is what you're talking
For
about?
one
And
single
all the
family home
others is going to remain as is?
As is.
Excellent.
So, Rick, what we'll do when you'll be calling me for a driveway access permit, we can walk in there and take a look a little bit closer, because it does get a little personal, so I'll make
I
a
have no-
motion.
I have no problem with that. I'm perfectly fine
Okay.
communicating and working through it
Alright.
and making sure we're
Good.
amicable neighbors, absolutely.
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone for Rick and Christine Schwartz. How do you pronounce your last name?
Schwartz.
Right.
Schwartz, okay.
Can we get a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will get the signatures you need on everything, and I'll get what I need to send to the county off, and then I'll get copies to you guys.
Absolutely. When would you like to?
So I'll take care of it and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
That's the best we could get.
That's the best you can do, okay.
It's got, well, roads on it and everything.
Yeah,
Try to remember all the
everything.
conditions now.
There's first aid stations and stuff posted on there that aren't on there though. But he does have stuff that he had the same as last year.
We're gonna need a time frame on this too, on these conditions for this triathlon deal, like a week or something, to get this information.
We don't have much time yet.
No, it's.
First trouble, if we don't have this, Matt, and then all of a sudden there's a change in the course.
You can make a motion with your conditions.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I agree.
that private
And I
EMS,
know
I can't explain it like
JCEC
Dave explained
runs their
it.
traffic patrol.
Oh, okay,
All the
right.
swimmers per group. Let's see, what else was there in that whole mess?
Are we going back to the discussion
Yeah.
for,
Or
okay.
I'm just getting that document here. Just to make sure I catch everything. Oh, yeah, level of
Yes,
detail
yes.
on the support groups.
Contingent on a couple of things,
Yeah.
of insurance and, the liability.
List of contacts is the other one, Matt, for that other special event. They're gonna provide to us a list of contacts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we probably should have that for this other one too. Not sure we have all that. Okay. Back to the discussion and request a special event for the triathlon. Okay, well, we're gonna, I'm gonna make a motion to approve this based on conditions. There's gonna be a set time frame on this, just so we can get better detail for you to provide to the town board, and so we, obviously can get that to the EMS and law enforcement. So my motion is to approve the Lake Mills Triathlon, contingent on that we get a list of contacts, level of detail of the support groups, and who that is, the detailed number of swimmers per group as they start, and if you are unable to work something out with the city EMS, then you're gonna have to hire a private EMS, so that's will have to be taken care of too. And you have 1 week to get all that information to us.
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business. Discussion decision of Short Hills HOA for phases 1, 2, and 3. Maintenance of dry ponds and drainage easements and issues in pedestrian walkways. Open up for discussion.
That's me.
Okay.
Please state your name.
Meredith Weir. I am the Rock Lake Homeowners Association president, and Margaret Pezzi is my vice president. She is here today.
For what area? Could you?
We are phase 1, 2, and 3. The HOA?
Yeah.
Yeah, all three of them.
And 3.
1 through 3.
Okay.
So do you understand where those are?
Yep.
Okay. What questions do you have?
I'm not agreeing that you are for phase 3.
What-
Do you have a,
There are 2 HOAs for phase 3. And it's stated right here in our minutes, which Margaret has a copy of if any of you want to see them. The HOA for phase 3 has 2 HOAs. They belong to us as a larger entity. They have to pay $25 a year to get lake access. And then it was agreed that they would also have their own HOA to collect fees for the retaining ponds. This was mentioned several times in several meetings. I told everybody that I came in contact with who was building up there this needed to happen, and then COVID happened. So COVID has done a lot of shutting down of a lot of things. But we have it in writing in 2 places from 2 meetings that we, the original HOA board, or the original HOA owners, will have nothing to do with the retaining ponds for phase 3. That the people who built up in that phase
That's on
3,
the north.
the north phase.
Along Highway B?
That's
That one,
the
Highway
little
B.
one on Highway B.
Yeah.
30,
Yeah.
33 or 31?
33 lots.
33 lots.
Bridle
And I-
path, saddle lane.
And I believe
polo
all
lane.
but 2 lots have sold. So,
So you're telling me that your HOA, what's your HOA do for phase 3?
we give them access to an outlot and a dock that goes onto the lake.
Okay.
That's the
and-
lake deal.
That's the lake. We also cut down trees, but phase 3 does not have trees that need cutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will not be president when those trees are taken. I promise you that. The big thing that we talked about before they even cut ground there was these 2 retaining ponds that by the DNR had to be put in. And we made it very clear that there would be a separate entity, a separate board, which has not been formed. Jason Forrest had it for a while. And then once, I think, a third of the lots were sold.
60%,
Okay, then it would go over to the people who live up there.
correct.
So nobody's coming, we've got one guy on our board who lives in phase 3. So he understands. The majority of people that I talk to after they've moved in who want a key for the outlot say they have no idea. We just signed papers. We have no idea that we needed another HOA. We talked to realtors know. It's a mess. I agree.
Sounds like it.
I agree, it's a mess, but it's not our mess.
Were there, Dave, maybe you were on the board at the time, were there letters that were sent out to these individual lots up in that area at some point?
I was under the impression that when those lots were sold, that the responsibilities of that subdivision was explained along with the elevation of their homes, so that one was not affecting the other.
Okay.
And then, I think a lot of those elevations were set by our town's engineer at that time. So,
And
but no, you guys do have one dry pond then,
We
right?
we
Yeah.
do, which in going through minutes from previous meetings, I believe was turned over to the town under Hope.
No way.
It hasn't been turned over to the town.
Town never accepted those dry ponds.
Okay, Hope and I walked through that dry pond with a couple of other people, and nothing ever happened. I think
Right.
there's trees growing in it.
Well,
Yeah.
just so you're well informed that everything should go to the town clerk, so the whole board is informed.
Well, Sarah Fitzgibbon was informed. Robin, do you know about this at all? No? Okay.
No.
This was,
And
gosh,
this would
how
have
many
been
years ago?
something that would have had to gone through a process of actually being filed with the Register of Deeds and being signed off by the chairperson at the time as well as the clerk.
Okay, so you're telling me that the HOA is still responsible for that one pond that is off of
Unless
Woodfield
something was
Lane?
done when Sarah and Hope were on the board
No,
that I'm not aware of.
no, we just
Right.
walked
You're
through it.
responsible for all the pedestrian walkways up there too.
We are working on those. Again, the man who was very, very gung-ho about working on those has gone blind.
Oh, no.
He's done some work on the one that runs by his house. We are talking as a board about going in and chopping trees down and having
Is that
markers
way in
made.
the woods?
Yep.
It all takes
Well, that
time,
hasn't
it
been
all
done
takes
in years.
people, and for me to try to get people to volunteer, my husband has made 5 kayak racks that we rent in our outlet. And everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll help, we'll help, we'll help. I
Well,
finally,
can I just said, I want to interrupt here and just say, what is the issue? What are we talking about here? What are you guys concerned about that the HOA has to
Maintenance.
be?
Maintenance of that dry pond is one thing.
Okay, what has to be done?
Has
Trees have to be cut out.
It has to be cut.
It has to be mowed and cut out, all the trees are growing up.
Okay, and who's going to determine exactly what has to happen there in terms of what trees, what has to be mowed, what's the deal?
is that DNR?
No, we give our engineer out there and he'll tell you what needs to be done. But it's all described in whatever covenants you had when you formed your HOA.
Oh, oh my God, that's 20, 30, 40, 50
Well,
years ago. We don't have any clue.
I actually formed that with Attorney Bristol and Port Atkinson. I started that. The
HOA?
Homeowners Association was there. And Mike and I moved into Stockbridge Court.
Mm-hmm.
And the first that we moved into it, we found out that Outlot A was going for a sheriff's sale because
Right.
the taxes hadn't been paid.
Right, and
So
Bailey?
myself and John Labs and there were like 2 or 3 other couples.
Mm-hmm,
We said, let's quickly pay the taxes so that we don't
Right.
lose the property. And then I went to Jefferson and I searched out, it's actually, section 2 and 3 belong to the homeowners, not 1, I believe.
okay.
I have a map.
We've always just called it Outlot A, right, Margaret? You go back farther than we do.
It was a mess. So I went to Jefferson County and on Outlot A, it listed all the property owners that were involved in that. And they gave me all the lot numbers,
I can make a
and so
suggestion.
I attached names to that and then
No,
sent
let
a
him
letter
talk
out to
about
each
this too.
homeowner. And we all paid a certain amount of money back to the people who had come up with the money to save the property.
Okay,
And then we went to Attorney Risto and he redid the bylaws for us.
in 20,
This might have-
2000.
This might have been in 1983. Right, yeah, 1983. 'cause
Okay.
We moved in 82.
Okay,
And that's when all this was transpiring.
Okay.
And so we went to Attorney Risto. Well, then Hopkins Savings and Loan owned many of the lots. And so they were willing to pay per lot, but Mr. Bill Ferry owned a lot of lots, and he asked it that it be turned back, declotted. And so we said, okay, for that, we'll give you one voting right. And as the subdivision is redeveloped, each one of those homeowners will have a right to come back paying a fee. We never came up with that fee because it looked like it was gonna be a long time down the road. But then they would be able to join back up with the homeowners association and
So which lot does Bill Balaam own and how did that happen? Because that's, from my understanding.
it was supposed to, it was kind of a weird thing because it was supposed,
Sorry.
homeowners were supposed to own a lot A and B.
Right, there was
And
a
for some-
handshake deal.
For some reason, there was a shady deal and B,
He swept it out underneath from
The
the
homeowners.
homeowner's feet.
Exactly.
Right, so we now have a right-of-way that
it's an
this,
8-foot driveway on the west side of the peninsula
the
down there.
peninsula down there, that he put a lock on, and he put nails on a gate up on the spikes. This is not a nice man. Just to give you some background on that. But where does this retaining pond come in?
I'm not sure what you mean about the
There's a,
retaining-
you know where the postman on Woodfield Lane, the post guy always takes lunch and there's some electrical boxes? It's on the west side of Woodfield
Oh, is it
Lane.
down below?
No, it's, well, yeah, I mean, you could walk from Woodfield Lane to Bridle Path and the retaining pond is in there.
That came into effect when phase 1 and 2 of Sherwood Hills
Right.
North, when Helversons did that.
Halversons did that, right.
That's when
And that's
that-
about our time.
Yeah,
that's
that's when that
getting
dry
closer.
pond
Yeah.
was
Okay.
turned over to your HOA.
Okay, so,
Designed to be a dry pond.
so as I understand it, somebody needs to come talk to me, right? Or I need to get in contact with somebody?
Well, it would be two choices. You can they can maintain it on their own, or you can have us have the engineer look at it and provide the maintenance that would be billed to you, if I'm saying that
Correct,
correctly.
yeah, we're gonna bill you the,
Right. It was,
Engineer's time.
as I understood it, was gonna go on our taxes?
well,
Is that still
our
correct?
preference is that your HOA fees take care of it and continue to maintain.
Do you know what we pay? We pay $25 a year. Yeah, and we had to really push our treasurer to get it up to $25 a year. I mean, there are no fees there.
Well, I've lived in the neighborhood for 21 years now.
Where do you live?
I live right on Sherwood Hills Road.
Okay,
And Jim had mentioned the pedestrian walkways, and I always just kind of chuckled as I walked past, because I've looked at the plan on the town board website.
Sure.
It's been on there for a number of years, and
they're not maintained.
nothing's happening at all with it.
No.
It's kind of, it's frustrating. I don't even know really why it's on the town board website anymore, because I think it's kind of embarrassing, to be
You
honest.
can't even find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
we,
the only reason I'm bringing that up is because the town took down a tree. This was prior to me getting back on this board, but I don't know, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
Cost the town like $5,000. We should have never paid for that. That's homeowners associations, pedestrian ways belong to them.
right,
The town board at that time took down that tree and paid for it.
okay,
That's when it was relayed to me that that the town owns all those pedestrian ways. I said,
Right.
baloney, we do not.
you don't,
We don't.
we do.
We have nothing to do with them.
Right, and they were put in for some reason by someone.
Yep.
Bob
So then-
Lindgren.
What?
Then this,
Bob Lindgren.
so
Okay,
then this rolls into phase 1 and phase 2, the dry pond also.
okay,
It's turned over to the HOA through your covenants. You are to maintain that. Phase 3 has three dry ponds
okay,
for those 33 homes.
right.
They are not aware that they have to maintain these ponds
It's
either.
in, it's
It's
in,
not just ponds, there's drainage easements throughout
Right.
that entire subdivision
Right.
that need to be
I've been
maintained.
I've been called about those.
Yeah, we have too, just recently.
Yeah.
And people want to start filling them in and planting stuff in.
And they
It's
can't,
not gonna happen.
right,
I mean, since we did our road tour, I looked into that. They cannot do that. It's totally against, it's written right in their covenants. They have to maintain those drainage ways
okay.
to
But
get that
who?
water.
But who is going to do it? Because it's not us. We spoke with,
The town can do it, but we're gonna bill you that. And we're gonna assess every
but you
property
should
owner.
be, but you should be billing only the 33 people that
For
own
those-
those
for those
houses.
three.
Right,
But if the one that's in phase 1 and 2,
We'll take care of phase one, don't worry about our.
Right, we'll take care of that.
We're not gonna deal with this.
no,
That's crazy. We can.
We can deal with our little one.
We didn't know that we were supposed to. We were told by Hope, and I don't know if Sarah's got minutes on this either, that the town was gonna cover that. We did not have to worry about it. If we have to, we'll deal with it.
and,
needs to be done this year.
What needs to be done?
Trees.
our dry pond,
The trees are.
You just said you're gonna deal with it. I guess I'm wondering how you're gonna deal with it. If you
What I
don't
need-
have a
I
plan,
need
you
to
don't even know how you.
I need to know what needs to be done. Who's gonna tell me that?
we haven't,
You
we
just
haven't,
said you were gonna take care of it. Do you want the town involved? We'll tell you what needs to be done. Otherwise, you'll get your own engineer and he'll look it up and decide what needs to
Okay,
be done.
we'll figure it out.
we'll figure it
All
out.
right.
Do we
Yeah.
have a timeframe we need to put?
Yeah, it needs to be done before August of this year, or we're gonna come in and do it. Because it's not functioning properly right now. It's full of weeds and trees.
Right,
It needs to be cleaned up.
so we either,
This is just protecting, you know, the subdivision to.
Oh, I
you know,
understand
make
what
sure that,
dry
you know,
ponds
if it's
do.
a big rain or something that.
Yeah,
things
we've
don't-
got water backing up in ditches in
Yeah.
we'd like
phase
some rain
1
right
and
now,
2.
but yeah, okay.
And it's not just the base of the dry pond either, it's also the bank and the berm. Because as soon as you get those trees, it's gonna be shade, the vegetation is gonna be lacking, and then you can expect erosion or blowout. So it's the whole dry pond area, including the berm and the top of the berm.
So it sounds like we need to hire somebody to come take care of that for us.
You know, there's a lot of little trees in there, so.
We
I
can
guess
take those down?
Volunteers.
Whew.
you know,
That's a great word, I love that word,
just have to be cutting the tree.
yeah.
Why isn't the developer responsible?
Because it was,
Developer.
it was,
Sign off at some
They
point.
signed off on that.
yeah, long time ago, just like Jason signed off on phase 3. Once,
Yeah, that was in the development agreement, that after
Right.
60% of the lots were sold, and then it was turned over to the homeowners.
And the homeowners in phase 3 we're referring to, at some point, were responsible to have their meeting and create their HOA.
right, which they have not done, so what do you want me to do about that? Because I can't do anything about that.
Nothing.
It's not my problem.
No, it's not.
But how so you guys are just gonna take that over, send an engineer up and
We
charge them
have to
all?
go through certain notification processes
Right,
of all this.
right. And they all had it in their packet when they bought the lot or built the house. So they were, you got it. And everyone said to me, oh, there was so much to sign, I didn't look at that.
They didn't read the. read down
Yeah,
further.
so a lot of young families up there,
Yeah.
so just tax them. Just charge them. I'm sorry, it's just, you know,
Just a clarification about the expense on tax bills, that's the last resort if the bill that's sent out for any services that the town has to do,
okay.
if it's left unpaid, then it can go on the tax bill.
There is money somewhere, Robin, that Jason Forrest put into a bank account that he collected every time someone bought one of his lots.
Okay.
So whether it was the realtor who bought the lot, whether it was the homeowner that bought the lot, he collected $25 from them at signing. I have no idea where that money is.
That's probably with that attorney that was supposed to work on getting this,
The attorney is, because we have him here,
there's a lady, wasn't it?
no, Jay Smith.
Jay Smith, and he works at the Bank of Lake Mills now and is not an attorney.
Oh, great. He was representing Cason LLC.
Yeah, he actually lives up in that area.
Well, he should,
Okay,
yeah. Is that what you need from me? Okay, we'll look at our dry pond.
I think the access to that, the best access is going in on the city's portion, right, Jim? Is that?
Yeah, to get to their.
To maintain that dry pond? Just so you're aware of that you probably have to clear something with the city if you do this on your own. If you're gonna use that easement.
Okay, you lost me. The easement that goes into our dry pond off of
Yeah,
Woodfield
so
Lane?
On Woodfield
Woodfield Lane.
there's that kind of city area where the sewer thing is.
Right,
there, that big
right.
open area. That's the city's going back in there
Right.
along that to that berm there.
Okay, so you're saying I should contact the city about?
Right, that's not the town, just so you know that, you know, if you go in there with machinery or somebody, you hire somebody to do it, that you clear that with the city.
The city, not you guys?
See, your access is actually up Woodfield Lane from there, up the hill a little bit. It's a wooded area. It's called Fox Lane on your plat. That's actually the access to
that.
dry pond. But you're never gonna get through there.
No, because we haven't cleared it.
What I'm saying is.
The best access is.
Is
through
off
the
of
city.
Woodfield Lane, which is where I went in before. And then you can get from there to Bridle Path through somebody's backyard.
And if you find you're struggling with this, you know, just reach back out to us and we're more than willing to offer the help. I always, you know, kind of defer to go back and try to do it on your own because you can save expense there. And a lot of times when contractors are looking at municipalities,
Oh my gosh.
you know what I
And it's
mean? So I
really-
mean, it's just a, you know.
Really not the business that the town should be in, it's maintaining
Right,
property that's
right.
private.
Right.
No, I agree. Yeah, we have been unclear ever since I was president that,
we were definitely unclear.
who was, I mean, all I knew was phase 3 we were not responsible for.
There's a lady in the
Okay.
back.
So-
that has a
Are
So
question.
are you doing architectural reviews for? phase
Yes.
3? So that's.
Yes, that's all. I've got a whole binder. Almost everything's been
Someone's
approved.
got a question in the back here.
Can I ask a quick question? I know that for the subdivision 3 or the.
Phase 3?
Yeah, phase 3, they were going to be, they were required for native plantings for the,
The pond?
yeah, any plantings were supposed to be native and the
Right.
ditches and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and high water absorbable, yep, which
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was planted, and they have to be watched and maintained because
Right.
if you get invasive species in there, canary grass or whatever, you know, then that has to be killed and they have to be replanted. Right now, 2 of those ponds to the west are really in rough shape because you're
Right.
getting a lot of brush in there. The one that's, when you first went on Polo Lane to the left, that one there, I believe the homeowner in the corner kind of mows it and kind of keeps it up a little bit. So really, it's 2 of them that are.
Landscape rock.
So
problem.
my question is, I know that standard was set for phase 3. For this phase 1 and phase 2, is this something that Marty's gonna have to worry about, that expectation is also there? The idea that the invasives would be taken out and that they should be looking for native plantings? Is that true for the
Yeah.
first?
Lot 1 as well?
Or just the third?
Yeah, I don't know, all I know is you should have trees in there, you know, I
Right.
don't know if there's supposed to be, you know, native plants in there or not.
Well, regardless, it has to be maintained.
Yes.
I mean, bottom line, they have to be maintained to a certain specification.
Get the trees out.
And that's key to
So if they need to.
And I need to-
function properly.
I need to find, so who do I call to find out what the specifications are? I mean, that's,
Covenants for your
For
phase
the-
1 and phase
for
2
ours.
should be filed at the Register of Deeds at the county. If you need to find out what those original ones say, it
okay.
should be.
And you've got some original documents, right?
I gave my documents to Gail and Mike.
Yeah,
These are all the easements.
he's there. Yeah, he gave me everything.
Oh,
I have boxes.
I knew that was a
So I guess I better go through
Pretty
it.
obvious when you see it.
Okay.
Ma'am, what was your name?
Susan?
You're Susan, okay.
And do you live in phase 1?
No, it was just a question, it was just a question that I had, because I knew that was true for the 3, and then
Yeah.
I wanted to know if it was true.
I don't think it's gonna harm
You were
anything.
aware, because it was.
Did it,
Right.
set the precedent.
We'll have to go back and look in those boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God help us. It's really a mess. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're done with your,
Yeah, I'd recommend a meeting for your group.
oh, we'll have a meeting, don't worry.
Many meetings.
We'll do
As
a
many meetings as
a
it
Zoom
takes.
meeting or, yeah, we'll do something. So,
We're gonna
okay.
have a motion that they clean out their ponds by August?
Yeah, we need to do that, yep.
I would make a motion that your HOA for phase 1 and phase 2, Sherwood Hills subdivision, get that pond maintained by August.
31st?
All right, August 31st.
Yeah, that's a
If not, then the town's gonna come in and,
Okay.
second.
And if
Yeah,
he-
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do we need a motion for 3 as well in that dry pond?
well, I think we gotta send letters for 3.
First, okay. We
That's
can
a
deal with
whole
that in
different
June.
ballgame.
All right.
Yeah, I think let's make a plan of attack maybe at June for. how
Yeah,
to-
well, we could do that now, because it's on the agenda.
Yes.
And the attorney has given us his opinion on phase 3,
Yes.
that we send out a letter. You saw this letter, right?
Do you have a copy of that letter? Do you have?
This one's for phase 3.
Yeah.
We haven't sent it out yet, so
It's not,
probably not. It's a
technically
draft.
not a draft, it's still draft form then, yeah.
Still drafted? Okay. Can I
It was
just-
written by our attorney
Yeah.
to be sent out to the Homeowners Association, which there isn't one, in phase 3 for outlots 2, 3, and 4. And basically it says they need to maintain those ponds, the town was gonna do it, and we'll tax them. Or they have to create their own HOA.
Okay. There's
And give
something
them
that's-
deadlines.
That's not your issue.
That's not our issue.
We're gonna take care of 3.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe that they're edition 1 though, they're 2. Because when I went and found, I have a map.
Well, who's one then?
This is 1, and that's all the ones along the lake shore. When I got all the numbers that belong to it, it's all the people on White Oak on both sides, and on this side of me, it did not include Sunset Court, but it did include,
Right, yeah.
Lake Terrace?
which is second edition, and then this 5 acres of
Quiet,
commons
please.
is the homeowners.
Order.
Right here, and the outlet. So they're only really second edition.
Right, I know there are homes up there that are not part of the HOA.
Right.
Yeah.
Sunset Court is not.
Right.
But the paths that come out, there's a path, let's see,
I think what you're gonna have to do is go to the
We
county,
need a good
have
set
a
of
meet.
maps of who's what. I mean, nobody knows who's 1, 2, and 3 and where they're at.
I think they
We gotta
need
do
to
one.
have a
I have
meeting.
more maps
Yeah.
that show it better than this.
Yeah.
See, none of this was planned, I mean, it was planned differently. I mean, Jason came in and his is a huge, these were all circle courts in there before. And then they have that 5 acres, I don't know if that's what you're talking about, the pond.
There's there's a couple ponds back
Those
there.
are ponds. Well, those, see, they were with section 2 at the time. And
Yeah, I don't know where those ponds sit. It's kind of,
See,
it's right in the middle of a 2-hen one.
this, their 5 acres of commons came out right here, then we walked down Sunset. We used this house in Lake Terrace, and all these people were in it, except for Sunset Court.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to figure this all out.
Otherwise, it's just gonna, we're just gonna have to do what we have to do, and
Right.
they're gonna get billed for it. We'll just make
Once we
it
give
easy that
them
way.
ample notice to get it under control themselves. If they don't, then we do it, we bill it.
Yep. Well, we just kind of did that, so.
Yep, and I think that one too.
And we'll address 3 later, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we started working on it a little bit last summer late, didn't we? You know, and then we just.
Order, so we can get accomplished business here, please.
Unless you want us make a motion that we send this letter out.
Do we have all, like, deadline dates set in that? Or should we set some deadline dates?
Well, maybe we should review this letter and put it on the agenda next month.
Yeah, let's do it in June.
Yeah, because I think if it was sent out in July, I figured they had to have a response sometime in August, and then it's gotta be done in September.
Right. Excellent. Do we need to address these waterways then, or we're not gonna address these, the drainage areas, and we're not gonna do anything with that? They just have to maintain them.
Yep.
We can give them notification of what the requirements are, and if
Okay.
they
This
choose.
is the couple we visited, what was your name?
Scott and Lisa Francis.
Yep, they're right there.
We're more confused now than we said.
Well,
About drainage and.
I think basically if you read your covenants.
Order, please.
Order.
If you read your covenants, which you should have a package of them, it addresses easement, drainage easements. And it specifically states that, well, you can, Maintenance of outlots and easement areas. The outlot and easement areas are intended for stormwater management and subdivisions. The individual lot owners shall be responsible for maintaining the outlots and easements with areas in accordance with requirements set forth in any of the documents governing the subdivision, including the stormwater easement agreement between the town of Lake Mills and the developer. If the association does not maintain the outlets and/or easement areas, the town of Lake Mills may maintain such areas and assess a special charge and on a reasonable basis against the lots in the subdivision. And then maintaining the grading easements consistent with the required plans and specifications. And it just lists no trees, plants, or anything are to be planted in those easements. So you,
I think our mission with our property is a little bit misconstrued. We're not wanting to plant anything in there per se, but I mean, really, since we've lived there, that stormwater easement, even during downpours, doesn't really collect any water. And really, it's now become more or less just like a ride around our property where it dips down quite substantially. I've actually rolled a lawnmower in it, trying to maintain it. I have no problem maintaining this, but right now it's in need of a repair. Of where when we were building our home, our homeowners and when we were doing our final grading and everything, they said that we can't, they literally told us they can't touch it.
right.
Are you Conti's, is that right?
Francie.
Francie.
Okay.
So I guess
Correct.
we need to know.
Because if you fill it in or something, you decrease the amount of water that it can take from your property or the hill coming down into that ditch.
As of right now, it's not collecting any water. I will invite you to come out during the next rainfall and you can look at it. It's not really doing anything. The only thing that's collecting is running, our culvert's collecting the water running downhill next to the street, and as of right now, it's being blocked by a box elder tree, and I have a lake up facing my property, which I understand is going to be removed, thank you for that. But that, the property line that we back up to against the park and neighbors down the hill, there's nothing that happens there. So
Yeah,
really,
until you get 5 inches of rain in 2 hours. Right?
Well, that's the concern is the big rain and, after like a, tremendous dry period or whatever. And you can understand that the town can't be liable for if you do something to that ditch and that it pours over off, onto the neighbors or affects other people down the line.
But we're collecting all the water from our neighbors. So really, we're the ones
That are responsible.
that are getting the brunt of everything, and there's nothing that we can do.
There's nothing that
What you're
we
telling
can
me.
do.
Yeah, and you have to accept the upstream water. That's just, no different than your neighbor's water, and then your water goes into the right of way and then heads on down into the dry ponds. So it's just, you have to accept the upstream water. There's just, there's nothing you really can do about that. That's just.
So they can't put what's your garden? A rain garden on their property to collect this water?
Not in the easement,
Not
but
in the easement.
but if they want to do it on their property somewhere, they can do it.
Right, but is there any way you could do that?
Well, what grading are we expected to maintain? Because literally right now, we have a glorified half pipe.
They do.
10 feet of our property.
They do. They're on the steepest part of that, what that hill is there?
Yeah, we were out there.
We
We
saw
saw
it.
it.
Yeah,
We walked it.
yeah. So I Scott's contacted me a couple times and I have no answer to give him.
I mean, we've been batting around with we were running the assumption with the HOAs, which I don't even want to go into the conversation.
Yeah, please.
We were told it was at the town, now we've contacted the town, and then it seems like now we don't know.
There isn't an answer.
I mean, we just
The
wanna make
33
sure
people up there, your neighbors own that, or to maintain that easement.
With respect, it's on my property, I'll maintain.
Pardon?
With respect, it's on my property, I'm more than able to maintain.
You're not the only one with an easement, though.
I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
I understand where the whole stormwater comes, but it looks like also grading wasn't maintained when some of these properties were being in effect. The stormwater easement that runs pretty much parallel with Highway B, literally the water was gonna have to come uphill to come down our property.
Is there a way to, go back to Jason and get the drainage plans or grading plans for that
Yeah, I would assume it'd be in the
We should have a copy of the
Yeah,
entire,
that's why Brian is
agreement.
tonight.
and we could have our engineer look at it and see if it's been changed
Yeah,
since from what it's supposed to be
From its
designed to
originality.
be.
I would have thought the assumption the engineer was already starting to look at this.
No, we were gonna talk about it. We can do that.
Okay, have the engineer, Jason's engineer?
Our town engineer,
Town
look at
engineer
that
has
and
to do it,
compare
so
it
it's
to the
gonna be
plans that were,
Right.
the final plans for that drainage of that, all that water. I don't know how deep it was when the roads were put in or anything, you know. And then then the houses were built and the contractors filled in the yards and pushed dirt around.
Okay, out of phase 3 is, I hope you guys find it, because it seems like phase 3 is chaos.
Right, and bear in mind that we're gonna have to, you know, we're obviously gonna have to listen to the engineer's advice. I'm not an engineer,
Neither am I.
and they know that stuff like the back of their hand, but I mean, I do know, and I have seen water damage when it comes down in big issues, when people have disturbed areas that they shouldn't have disturbed, you know, shouldn't have disturbed. You know, so again, it's really, you know, it's really to protect from liability on the town's front and on your front if you decided to alter that. You know, your neighbor could sue you for tons of money if it affected him in some way, shape, or form.
You're right against the park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there isn't really a neighbor below him per se.
Yeah, there's a house below there, next to the park.
On the corner, yeah.
Park is on the corner, then there's one, and there's a lot.
Yeah, and there's a lot
That
of
drainage
water
just
that goes
cuts
in
right
there.
back across that person down the hill from you,
Yeah.
We
right?
can have our engineers shoot grades out there,
This
because
house is graded in such a way where it will bypass to one side of this.
I want to address that Conte one, Conte one, the one with the
water.
water sitting in the ditch. Or we want an engineer just to.
but there's been, you know, if he shoots elevations out there, you'll be able to tell if it's been altered.
Both the same.
Because we've had some
Yeah.
interesting things happen out there when houses
I don't know
were
if
built,
they're
they
here
pushed the
tonight.
dirt
I
on
don't
the
think so.
neighbor's yard, and then they have to deal with it, and obviously they didn't want it hauled away, so there's gonna be, you know, loads left to disperse and all that, but, so, we just have to figure out what the elevation's supposed to be.
We'll have to dig it out, because I don't know if I have.
All right, we
full
will
set.
work on that for you. All right, moving along, discussion decision of town parks ordinance and committee formation. We'll open it up for discussion.
When I saw that, Tom, I remember when Jim was a chair, we tried to get that going, and I think we only had one volunteer, which was Tim Spoke, I think was the only one at the time.
Yeah,
So we really just did not find
You saw that?
any
Yeah,
interest
oh,
now.
yeah.
Maybe things are different now, but
It's a little old.
I know of at least one person that would be of interest.
Yeah, I already got, I probably have some that are interested too.
So it might be viable.
yeah, I mean, hey, that's, you know, that would be great.
It's just, there's a lot of things, well, it's really unfortunate because we have a huge plan. And I was looking through the plan of, you know, things that were supposed to be looked at and improved upon. And I pretty much have not done by all of them.
What, can I ask a question? What were you saying about, you only had one volunteer to do what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We're discussing the formation of a parks committee
Right.
for the town
I
parks.
would be interested in being on that committee.
Excellent,
Yeah.
great to hear.
So we need someone else.
Can you spell your name for Robin?
Donna Bridges.
Okay, I thought that was you, Donna. Thank you.
We had a parks,
We did, I was on it too.
we had a parks committee in 1992, and we actually met,
Historian.
Love it. Yep.
we did meet, and we, as we were meeting, we decided that, let's see. We had a meeting, we had some findings, and we decided in that meeting that we wanted to have a certified survey of all the areas. And the township paid $700 to have that done, but they didn't clearly mark everything, so we went back to the township again and asked to have another one done. And then in the meeting, we kind of asked everybody to come up with what they thought was important. And, gosh, it's hard to do here.
Well, and that was all done in this 2005 to 2010 plan as well.
Oh, was there another one after that?
Yes, there was.
Because I know for ours, it said members of the public present were given the opportunity to again express opinion about the future development of parks and walkways. Opinions range from do nothing, leave wildlife habitats, to development of some parks for play, swimming areas, children. All seem to agree that it would not be advantageous to the area to attract large numbers of strangers to the area for use of the parks, although the parks are open to the general public, and the original use was intended for those living in the township and the immediate area. And then I think after all of that discussion, I think in 1993, Mr. Unz vacated the park committee.
So I made a list of, a few things that I've seen over the years as to why we need to form a parks committee. The town of Lake Mills has an ordinance for them. It's never really been developed since 2004, potentially when it was developed. We have a park and outdoor recreation plan that needs to be updated and adhered to. This is from 2010 and we're in 2021. Parks are being overrun by invasive species, and it's only going to get worse, I'm sure. Parks have safety and human health issues. Parks are not organized very well. They've been kind of hodgepodge together. Parks are seeing greater usage. Parks are not clean and are being used as a dumping ground, dumping in the woods, which isn't pleasant. And there is minimal park funds outside of tax dollars. So it'd be really, really nice for a committee to work on other alternative sources of funding for all of the nice parks that we have in the town of Lake Mills. And there's a lack of volunteer organizations to help with park maintenance, because maintenance is always an issue. It's always easy to generate a plan, but it's not always easy to execute it and maintain it, and that seems to be missing. So can I get a motion to recommend the formation of a 5-person Parks Committee as specified in the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And Robin, I'll get a letter ready to send out.
Okay, so we'll be seeking individuals that want to be considered?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Thank you.
First priority, update this thing.
Yeah. Okay, discussion and decision proposed amendments to the town's ordinance 5-4 land subdivision regulations.
This is basically to approve the amendments as written.
There was some.
Move forward to a public hearing and then adoption.
Okay. There were some spelling errors in here. Did you catch those by chance? And some of the highlighted remarks?
If you can provide those, it doesn't have to be right at this moment.
Okay.
We can do that.
After.
Just mention the typos.
Now, Robin, then you have to also publicize the,
Right, so it's got to be notified. It's got the public hearing, so people can come and discuss any issues they may have with the amendments. And then after that public hearing at that board meeting following, the board can decide to adopt it.
Yep.
So we're just giving an emotion on the proposed amendments tonight.
Right, to make sure it's in a final draft state.
Final.
Yeah, you corrected the lighting issue, right?
Yes, I used the same wording from that first section and transferred that to the commercial, so the residential and the commercial match. like you had asked.
And then you added, wherever there was a minor subdivision.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
And the attorney's comments, he didn't really have too many, but those are related to the submission of the plans, the 30 and 90 day, and that's all in here.
Yes, so whatever you had in your notes from your copy, I used that, and then those extra notes you had come up with during the plan commission, I added those.
Okay.
Some of them are written by hand because we got those that night, and I gave you your packets that night.
Yeah, mine isn't updated,
Oh, okay.
because I think you guys probably have the updated one.
Yeah, so what I did was I took your notes that you had and updated them accordingly.
And you took out that, omit the
Yes,
references to the
Yeah.
nuisance ordinance.
public nuisance ordinance,
Correct.
which we'll have to go back someday and
And review that one.
update that one to match this one,
Match the
the
one.
lighting.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So
I'm
once I get
satisfied
the
with
spelling corrections from Tom,
Oh,
then I'll have a final draft
That'll
that we
be,
can move forward with.
all righty. Can we get a,
I'd make a motion to approve the final draft of the ordinance 5-4 land and subdivision regulations.
can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I will put together that final draft, send it out to you guys, and then I'll get it noticed, get the public hearing set up for next month, and then get on the agenda.
Thank you. Discussion decision of proposed amendments to Town Ordinance 5-7 driveway and culverts.
Again, the only change in there that Dave I put back in the 15-inch culvert.
Yep.
Yeah.
On 15-inch.
Yes.
And then put that clause in there that
Yep.
existing topography doesn't work out, you can go to a 12 or elliptical or reduce height.
Yep, I saw that.
And the engineer's thing in there about aluminum, and if it's in a corrosive area, and is in there. And then, the only one that is done by the, plan commission, town engineer definition.
Make a motion to approve the draft of the driveway and culvert
Second the motion.
ordinance.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries. Discussion and or decision of engineering fees for Crossman Road and Rock Lake Road budget and payment. For discussion.
That one here, I think, we're just gonna have to take the money out of the highway department until the CDs are, done.
Okay, the CD for the Crossman Road comes due June 11th.
June 11th.
So you'll have to think about it and at the next June meeting, decide what I should do with that.
Right now, I'm thinking if we can get this thing bidded and get moving, that, we're not going to tie that money up, are we?
Nope, can't,
Yeah, because we need to roll. I mean, it's the May.
Yep.
Did it, it's June.
Yep.
Maybe you can get work done in August yet.
Yeah, well, he was Corey. I briefly spoke to him and I was thinking late August, September. But he gave the time frame for bidding out, for an acceptable time frame.
Yeah.
The only thing I would make mention of too in the bidding process is, is this being bid as one sole whole entity, or is this being bid out in, where people that deal with ditches, they're dealing with ditches and not the people, building the highway.
I think the way to attack that, it would go to a contractor, and if he subs the ditch planting out and matting and stuff like that, that would be their issue as a subcontractor, where we would only deal with one guy. Otherwise, right away, I think it'll get messy.
Okay.
But yeah, if there's any way, in my opinion, I think we need to get the bid letting, and we have to move on it.
what are the engineering fees? What are we over
Currently,
for Crossman Road?
just for Crossman, the current bill that we had gotten was $12,000, and we've had a couple previous to that. Pretty much everything this year so far has been Crossman Road. There's been a few other things, but I would guess around 20,000 has been specifically for Crossman.
Yeah, and I
I can
think,
get you that number.
So out of the 250,000 that was Creekwood's for this project, according to the state's local road improvement thing, town's portion is 186,000. So the engineering fees is another 20 or whatever, 30, let's say 30.
I think
By
they
the
were
time it's
talking
done?
60
We're
at the
still
end of the
under,
day.
we're still under 250, so,
Yeah, I think total, you're right, I think they're
Yeah, that was-
estimating it to be about 60,000 total.
of engineering fees?
Yes, yeah, for the watchdog and.
So that's 246, that's 246 out of the 250. So we have enough money in, out of the 250 to pay the engineering fees.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
So
when
that's where that money's gotta come.
So when she goes to redo the CD,
I'm gonna cash it.
You're gonna cash it out.
Cash it
cash it, okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
And we're
Got
gonna
it.
start paying, engineering fees out of that money
Okay,
Is there,
and transfer money from whatever we paid previously
Right, to
Right.
catch us up.
to catch us up.
okay.
Corey did mention that ditch deal that Daybreak did without a permit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, that he was gonna be in discussions with them as to how to rectify that. He thought they would cooperate. I don't know if you want him just to handle that or
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't
it'd be
think-
good
and just
negotiate.
work through it and be done with it and
Yeah, that was
move on.
private agreement.
Do we need to make any decisions here tonight on the engineering fees as far as,
Well, I'll make a motion that we pay the engineering fees for Crossman Road project, past and present and future, out of the $250,000 Daybreak money.
Second?
can we get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So you say that's gonna be bid and,
And can we get a motion to get the bidding process underway?
I'll make a motion that we get the bid letting for Crossman Road, underway.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Was Corey going to do that, and send the specs out and get all that done, or is he gonna give us the specs and we're going to?
I think he's gonna-
Sounded like he was gonna do
Okay.
it to me when I talked to him. I
Yeah,
mean,
that'd
I
be
can
good.
confirm
Yeah.
it in an
He
email.
We
can
can
talk the
certainly-
language.
Yeah, we can certainly help relay that to contractors that we know we should send it to, but yeah, the
Yeah.
bulk of it should fall.
I can contact him via email and just get that
Yeah.
confirmation.
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling.
Yep. Discussion or decision of Rock Lake Road project for planning project trip grant and budgeting. Sent an email to the state. I haven't heard anything back yet. I know that this came up for discussion as far as trying to get this thing shovel ready in the last meeting. But at this point, being 2023, I think that one's 2023, right? It's not written on here, but June of 2023, I think that was a deadline on that one.
Actually, it was June of 2022.
But it was 23.
Nope, the state, it's 2022. We won't have money until 2023.
Right.
Okay, yes, gotcha.
Yeah, it was,
So I'll open up for discussion as far as paying out engineering fees to get it
Well-
shovel ready when we don't know exactly what's going on yet.
our portion, the state's portion was 193,000 and our portion was 193,000, right? We don't have $193,000 until 2024. Yeah, 2024. Because the next one, you have 150,000.
Because we have 2 payments yet on the
Right.
current loans we have out.
Yeah, so we had 3 payments.
Yeah.
We made one.
We did early, yep.
Next year, we're gonna make another one. Then we would have
You're right.
one payment
It's
left.
2023.
But then to keep this whole ball rolling, then we
I
have
just had it
to
stuck in my head.
borrow
You're
money 1 year
In
prior.
advance, right.
So then, that means in 23, we then have to go and borrow another,
Right, without overlapping those years of payments. That's how
correct.
you guys.
For the record, it is June 2023.
I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Okay.
Otherwise, if we
We would have to do that project in 22 though, in order to, because it has to be done.
To successfully complete it, oh yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, if we miss that schedule, then
Right.
taxes are gonna be going like
Right.
this, and when you get accustomed to $20 per thousand to have a good road, you know, it's the inconsistency that gets everybody's attention. Does anybody understand what the whole treasury and the release of the interim final rules for local governments for the coronavirus? Is that gonna be a shovel-ready program? I know it's really vague stuff that's been coming
Yeah,
out.
so everything.
That might be a
not
good
gonna be
question
for
for Corey,
roads.
maybe.
Yeah, it's vague, everything is vague.
There, remember Jim, we had shovel-ready projects when Obama was president to get the economy rolling, and maybe there'd be something there, but it could just.
No, they're not talking, right now, it's just sewer, water,
Yeah,
economic development, and
yeah, I don't even know.
impact on businesses, if you had any businesses that are
Right.
impacted by COVID-19.
Okay.
It's $211,000 that Town of Lake Mills gets from the state, or from the federal government, through the state. But there's really restrictions on what you can spend it on, so it's not roads. yet. Or it's not town hall. It's not a new town hall either.
That's the most gonna make next vote.
You give yourself a raise.
So I think we table this for now,
Well, I guess so.
at least until next meeting, and see if I can find out more
Or
from the
no
state.
action.
Yeah,
No action, probably
No action.
yeah,
just carry over.
just carry it over. We need the information on though from the state, try to pin them down.
Yep.
The last email said that because it's a TRID program, that they don't really extend those.
Right, no, typically they
don't.
don't, yeah.
The only way we could do it is if we did it in 2022, you'd have to borrow the money again. You'd have to take out another loan, pay interest. Like I said, my plan was to take the 240,000 out of the lake fund, borrow it from there at no interest and pay it back 2 years later. But I seem to get pushback on that.
If it can be done, it'd be fantastic.
I don't.
Well, it's just sitting there.
Yeah, we'd be our own best customer.
Yeah, you just pay it back in 2 years. Anyway, next month.
Okay. Discussion on our decision of road work for 2021 and review a highway budget for 2021. You might want to review the budget before we review the road work.
Yeah.
There's a substantial number of it. All of it.
Is the chart, now this doesn't show this month's disbursements, but I don't think there was much on this month's disbursements that would fall onto this, other than like the signage to Jefferson County Highway.
Yeah. Do you wanna,
Do you need a copy, Jim?
thought I had it.
Yeah, just one more.
Got it.
Okay.
So there's reserve plow money there. And
There's one thing on the loans that we have out, the 360,000 and the 90,000, for a total of 450. Those, I think we need another way of tracking what we spent out of that, because there's additional money there. Because you paid the contractor for Airport Road 360 or 70 some
See, that was
thousand
the
dollars.
previous year.
Yeah, but that's what the loan is for.
Okay, so you want to show that,
I want to see what we've actually paid out of this loan. Because there's, out of that 90,000, there should be like 55,000 that we have addition, that we can put towards, spend between now and 2023, towards
the roads. Yeah.
something.
No.
Rock Lake Road.
What's the,
Okay.
So we need to be able to track that,
which road?
what we've actually paid on these loans and the interest. Because there's not interest on these either, is there?
Yeah, it shows the interest when you look at the 3/15/2021 payment.
Okay.
We broke it out there between the interest of
Okay.
1726 and 148,000. Kind of right in the middle of the page there.
Yeah, I see that, but is there interest? You got question.
Well, and that's just, it's, that interest is calculated by the state, and we're sent a notification of what that interest is gonna be for the upcoming payment. That's where,
No way of projecting it?
probably project it. I would think that that rate is locked into somewhat. So, and I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. I'll find out though. 2.75 or something, was it?
Anyway, I think we need that.
Okay, I'll try to figure out a way to show that better
Yeah, it
for
would
you.
be helpful to have that, I think, for the later things. I think, two of the quicker things that got identified in the road maintenance are gonna be the potholes and the wedging, road raising, wedging, that sort of thing. The crack sealing and the and the actual road sealing is, gonna be much larger expenses. So we had roughly about 180 potholes to fill and about 21 roughly wedge areas where some of the wedge areas are just where they've been potholed to death, where I don't think that's gonna work anymore. It's pretty much deteriorated and gone. It would be nice to get that underway and get a couple of estimates, to start getting those two things accomplished here.
Yeah, so I think some of the potholes are getting, irritating.
I did slate Crossman Road to cold patching instead of hot patching to save money.
Just a Band-Aid,
Band-Aid
really
because we don't want to spend money
You
on
hate
that
to even
road.
do anything, I mean, throw gravel in it or something.
Well, that's what I wanted to do, and when I was on the phone with Corey, he's like, the trucks are gonna blow it out right
Yeah.
away. The big
We go to
trucks.
Menards and buy some bags, throw it in.
So-
Yeah, you don't want to spend hardly anything on it.
Right,
2.5%.
and that encompassed, about 25 of them, 20, something like that, so, it was a certain percentage. I didn't bring all my math with me tonight, but I got kind of a calculation as to what the board can be looking for for amount of materials for the actual pothole end of it, not the wedges. We have to have an estimator come out to kind of scope those out a little bit better, measure those areas to get better confirmation on that.
Right.
The potholes though is, it wasn't an astronomical number of tonnage. I think it was like 9 or 10 tons I think I came up with.
Oh.
Based on surface area. And that was going at a pretty good depth of like 8 inches, which I don't think none of
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say 4, maybe 5 times.
So it's probably half of that. I
Yeah.
just kind of took the worst case scenario, but, so we can get an idea when they come back, as to how we're doing it. I did map everything out really well for, the estimators, so they can get to things quickly and what the potholes, wedges, that sort of thing.
Tom, do you wanna, I mean, I can see the wedges and stuff waiting on, but the potholes, did we wanna just not to exceed number or something to get that rolling? Because I don't know, I guess.
You could give the authority by motion to Tom.
I wouldn't
to find
exceed
an
200.
estimate.
I mean, I think 180, I counted them, I had 177, so, but I could have missed a few.
Because otherwise, you hate to wait a whole nother month, because then you're into June.
You could cap the amount that you would spend on it and give him the authority to get the estimates
Right.
and choose based on the
Oh.
estimates.
We don't have like a solid, unfortunately, I don't think we have like a solid number, like of what was spent last year, do we? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's what we have in our documents, we can figure it out.
because it was
but
kind of,
that's-
it
you're
was
not
kind of,
comparing apples to apples,
it was
so-
messy, and the beauty of the spreadsheet now is we'll be able to keep track of that, so we know exactly what
Yeah.
happened from year to year.
I think it started out to be around $6,000, and then it ended up to be more like about 8,300, I think.
I saw a bill for like close to $9,000.
Yeah, that makes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know if that was all potholes or if that was
Yeah, it's,
larger areas and what that encompassed, because there wasn't a lot of detail in the actual specifications. And I think you said the year before was worse, right? That you,
yeah, it could have been, I don't remember exactly.
I would rather cap it at less, because I think it's probably, less this year, but.
6 or
And
7.
then if we have to do a change order, to do the rest, then we get the rest done.
And by the time they
At
get the
least you'd like
first
to
chunk
know.
of work done.
Yeah. What that calculation's gonna be.
Yeah,
They could get a good chunk of the work done, and then you'll know where you're at for the June meeting and
Right.
make another decision then on
otherwise it's a
continuing.
surprise.
The only downside to, getting an estimate on two separate things is it's getting harder to find these pothole people. And sometimes it's like, the candy is the wedging. To get somebody to do the potholes, and maybe that doesn't happen this year, but it's something in the future we should be taking into consideration.
Ron, do you have a wedge machine? No. You don't?
Can we get a motion to, I guess we should decide what the cap is gonna be first.
How much is hot mix going per ton, any idea?
I think it's about $78 a ton,
$78
Be
a ton.
about right, yeah.
somewhere in that area.
And so, what do you figure about, gonna use 5 ton, 6 ton,
Go 6.
6? So, that would be, start there, I guess. So that's about $460. I think that'd be more than that.
You get for your labor.
No, I was doing that math too, and it's not as much
Yeah,
as you think.
Yeah.
But then you have the other facets, you've got, picking it up, delivery, labor.
Oh, yeah, I'd put it in there,
Installation,
yeah.
all that stuff, so. There's national guidelines on calculate, or ranges for that, for the labor and all that stuff.
Well, does $10,000 cover it? Or?
Oh, I think that'd be more than enough.
Okay, so
Based on,
I'd say 8.
8?
yeah, I'd go 8.
Cap it at 8 and then go
And then
from there, see
use
where
it
they're
and
at.
Go from there, yep.
That's for the pothole thing?
Potholing,
Want to do that one separately?
yeah.
So I make a motion that we do the potholes as identified by Tom with a cap of $8,000.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And then what do you want to do with the wedging?
I think the wedging we need.
You're gonna bid out?
We need to get that, we need to get that bid out to estimators to get
Okay.
a better idea of what kind of calculations and surface areas we're dealing with, so we have good specifications.
Maybe with this is not something that has to be bidded out, it can just get estimates, correct, because it's maintenance, or is it considered construction where it does need to get bidded out?
No, it doesn't have to be bid.
Well, we could just get estimates, but, I would
I just want to make
want to
sure,
get
so
estimates on the
because the
wedging.
bidding process is a very specific process, so we
Right.
want to make sure we're doing it the right way.
This would be just general estimating to get an estimate, because they're gonna have to send an estimator out and look at all that stuff anyway.
Okay.
I'm not an engineer, and how much they're gonna have to cut out and all that stuff to get
So
to where we
that
need
will
to.
add to the June meeting, or are you looking to do that?
I would prefer
Wanna do it now.
to get that going right away.
Okay, I make a motion that we solicit estimates for the wedging.
Second.
Do you have any other work besides wedging?
There's crack sealing and,
You want to do that separately?
the crack sealing and overlays, we gotta do separate.
Okay.
We gotta know the budget
The
before we
wedging.
do that.
Call the order on the wedging motion then.
Dave seconded.
Guy
Say
second.
second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, that's over.
Then you're gonna work on crack sealing?
Yeah, I'll start getting, I can give you,
No, I mean, as far as contractors, we're gonna do that in June?
the crack sealing.
Yeah.
So we'll bring crack
Well,
seal.
I think what we have to decide is how much we want to do, because you've been crack sealed. And so there was, where'd my number go here? 9, 10. There was 11 spots identified for crack sealing, 11 different roads. Now, there's some that are gonna be a lot more difficult than others, like the Shorewood Hills neighborhood is gonna be very difficult because of the sand on the road. So do we even bother with that this year?
Crack filling really saves the road, Tom.
Yeah.
Keep that water out, and when it freezes, it expands.
But we could get we can get estimates going on that as well.
Yeah, I would think we should. I'll make a motion that we get estimates on the crack ceiling.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last one is overlay or seal coat. There was, so we have Michael Lane, Alley Road that were alligator to the point where I don't think he'd be able to sit there and crack fill all day long. I think those were the only two. And then the other two roads, Schollmeyer Lane, I know the board had already previously decided to turn that thing up and make it gravel. But we will at some point, I think we should look at budgeting to see.
Well, we have that $14,000 left at the county,
Right.
which was,
To do that with.
yeah.
We
the
should
county
probably
could
check
go
with
out there.
them to see if that is something they can do, because she was pretty specific. It can't be used for things like potholes and shoulder.
Yeah, she
No,
reminded me.
they're just grinding the road up,
Yeah.
turning it to
I
gravel.
think they have a million.
They actually did road on it, work on it last fall, September, October, late.
Okay.
And we had an agreement with them that we didn't like it, what they did, and they were gonna revisit it in the spring. And
Okay,
so I think maybe we should just work with the county on that one.
okay.
Keeping in mind, we have $14,000 plus, well,
Yeah.
yeah, 14,000.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah, whatever we
That money
contribute this year.
doesn't go for this year.
Right.
No, that makes sense. And then I think the group had identified Shore Acres Road as a possible complete redo, but I don't know if there's a rush to jump into that one right away without knowing what we have.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just grind that down 2 inches. Go in there with a grind it down 2
Oh,
inches,
just the
then
surface.
overlay it.
Yeah.
Which road
Then you don't
is
have to
this?
mess with,
Which road?
Shore Acres Road.
Right.
Shore Acres. I don't know, it's something for.
I don't know if we've ever done that.
professional look at.
We've never done that.
I've seen city
But I've
does it.
seen it done.
Yeah,
I think the county did it on Highway B,
yeah.
Highway A, going to
I
Watertown.
think that makes sense. You don't have to change the grade up there. That would be nice if you didn't have to even
Yeah.
touch any of that.
Otherwise, it's a can of worms.
So I'd like to bid that one out that way.
Okay, so that's,
We can bid it.
Shore
We don't
Acres.
have to accept it. It's too much money.
Yep.
okay, and Schollmeyer, so let's go back to the overlays quick, or the seal coats on either getting estimations for Michael Lane.
2 roads, right?
And Alley Road, yeah.
You know, Alley Road,
That's not a good road.
yeah, I get it, you know, because we did seal coat that, a number of years ago, but I'm just wondering if a shoulder would be money better spent, because it's so narrow and there's so much traffic on there. I don't know, I hear you, but that
Well, I
road
mean,
is
it's-
just gonna get beat up.
Oh, I know, it's gonna get beat up. I don't disagree with that. It's just that at some point, with it being alligator that big,
Yeah,
it's not gonna
yeah.
last.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be a matter of a couple of years probably.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, it does get a lot of traffic in pretty much all times of the year.
Yeah,
Well, we could bid them out.
yeah,
And
take a look at it.
I'll make a motion that we bid those 2 roads seal coat.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And then,
What's your guys' thought of some of these roads that we have redone? You know, London Road was the first one of seal coating to protect against the UV rays, working on that surface. So then, it'll be, London Road will be the first one, then Newville will be the second one, and then Airport Road will be the third one, down the line is. That's be expensive, but.
Well, I talked to the state engineer about some of these processes, and seal coating inevitably sucks the life out of asphalt. That's
Oh, it
what-
does, because of the heat?
Yeah. But he said if you're gonna do it, he had mentioned, I believe it was pulverized seal coating. He said it holds up 10 times better than the standard, PO. It's obviously probably more expensive, but it has longevity. And I think that's what the city did over there when you come into the city and be there.
Yeah,
That's pulverized.
because they have fog seal and there's a bunch of things. But
Yeah.
I don't know, just something to keep in mind, to save it as we spend all that money and effort and the taxpayers pay for it so that, they just don't deteriorate in front of our eyes.
Right. So we are on.
You're gonna work with the county on
Work with the
Schollmeyer
county
Road?
on Schollmeyer. Do we-
Need a motion for that?
I think you already approved that, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
I thought that was it. I thought you said that road was approved to be ground up.
Well, last fall, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
So do we
continuing
need a new
project.
motion or no?
Probably not then, no.
Okay, all right, that's a continuation. And then I just need to get a motion on the Shore Acres to grind it up and do overlay.
Make a motion to grind it, do an overlay.
So you're only gonna grind
Or
it?
mill it, I want to mill it.
Mill it 2 inches deep and then overlay.
Overlay 2 inches.
Can we get a second?
Second, sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Hopefully you kept up with that one, Robin.
I did.
Alrighty, discussion or decision of boundary agreement with the city of Lake Mills, expiration and planning for renegotiations.
That's a big project.
Good project.
So, where are we gonna start with it?
Well, we had a letter from the attorney, which basically said it looked pretty good, except for the item about connecting to the sewer. That was only one thing he needed clarified. I don't know if you have all these letters.
I don't have all
We'll
those.
have to get
Yeah.
those letters to these
They should be
guys.
in the paperwork you received, but
For tonight?
no, for the boxes.
Oh, and that. KS, yeah, okay.
So basically, the attorney thought it was a pretty good plan. I guess the only issue is, does the town want to renegotiate it for another 20 years? I thought it was a benefit. We get 23,000 last year from the city. It's not a lot, but at least it keeps the city growth area north in check, and you have a say in it, and, I don't know,
Is there any?
my opinion. Dave, you.
So yeah, 20 years is a long time, so I don't know if we want to go to 10, if they'd be interested in doing something like that.
Is this something the plan commission maybe should review first?
Well, they have, we need to start it back there again, at the plan commission level if we start it. It kind of got put on hold because of COVID. It expires we need to do it because it expires in 2022, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I guess the non-contesting clause kind of gets me, where you can't contest the annexation. But, I don't know.
Maybe kick it back to the plan commission, start.
Well,
with,
you
so
can't,
moving forward.
you can't contest the annexation if the property owner agrees,
Right, yeah.
willing.
Yeah.
You can, you can contest it if the property owner doesn't want to be annexed. You can fight for them, you can deny it.
Okay, so we really need to move this just back to the planning commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
revisit.
in the meantime, I get Tom the letter from the attorney and all that stuff.
Okay. Do we need to make that a motion to give it a sort of a,
I'll make a motion that we send it to the plan commission.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion and/or decision of 2021 ditch mowing contract with Wolf Sand and Gravel.
And we kind of have an agreement with them, but it's never been documented into a contract. I do have their certificate of insurance, and this is just sort of to solidify what's already been agreed upon.
This is my pile somewhere.
6,200, 6,400?
64.
6,400.
Mowing.
Yeah, for 2 mowings. Yep.
And then I believe next year is when we need to re-up.
Okay, yeah, because if I remember, it was 2 years. Yeah.
So we just need to get a motion on the contract aspect of it.
Yep.
All right.
I make a motion to accept the ditch mowing contract with Wolf Sand and Gravel for 6,400.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Old business, discussion and/or decision of signage at Ferry Park for vehicle parking.
Well, you got an old agenda.
Oh, yeah. You've got the end of the bridge aid and the county highway.
Sorry about that. Discussion and/or decision of 2021, oh, that was one. Discussion and/or decision of county bridge aid application. That's right, that came in the game.
We don't have any culverts, right?
Yeah, I don't remember doing any. Is there any invoices from last year? I don't remember doing any last year.
So there's no sense in doing
The
that.
only ones that were done was the Daybreak culverts, but they paid for them.
Right.
So it's really,
And this would be if you had any to do next year, you would want to apply because you'd get money next year for them, right?
Can you think of any?
I
that-
can't think of any.
What about the culvert on Fable that sinks all the time? Is that something that needs to be addressed?
yeah, just wedge over top of it and forget about it.
Okay.
I'll fill a pothole too that's up there too. I think
Well, the one that could be in trouble was that one over on,
Cemetery?
Hope Lake Road, that one that's got the big bump in it.
Oh, yeah.
If we shave that down and something happened to it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how
I
quick
think the
that.
culvert has to be replaced in order for the
Right,
bridge aid
yeah.
to be.
Yeah, for culvert replacement installation.
Well, it doesn't hurt to fill one out, does it? To submit.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we apply for bridge aid in 2022.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Is the old business the same on this one?
Nope, we got another one.
No, I know, no, but I mean, the old business is the same.
That I don't know.
Discussion and/or decision of county highway aid application.
And that's where we contribute this amount each year, and it goes into that kitty that we had talked about earlier, that 14,000. That, whatever we contribute this year and is matched by the county can't be used until next year, though.
Right. And the county has first refusal to do the work.
Right.
We always apply for it. I'd make a motion to apply for county highway aid for $3,775.
Yep, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we're on to business.
Yep, no, we're in old business.
Discussion and/or decision of signage at Ferry Park for vehicle parking. Well, I spent a lot of time down there in the last couple of weeks. So I got to talk to a lot of people, a lot of homeowners that live right near there. Got some beautiful pictures of a lot of boat trailers parked in the flat. So I really feel that this, and that's the whole reason for invigorating a parks committee is because before we start putting signs up all over the place, there really has to be a comprehensive look at everything that's going on. Now, I did talk with Chief Miller, and I also talked with the Jefferson County Parks Director, and we looked at some of the safety issues. And I believe, Doug, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Miller, that we both agreed that, it's not a great idea for trailers to be parking on the hill because of them having to bag down the hill. And I've also heard from constituents that they've seen them sliding off into the roadway, which is not a great scenario either. So the safest place to park for trailers is actually in the actual flat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. And the Jefferson County Parks Director surveyed that situation as well too, and he also confirmed that. So the problem I guess we have right now is that the trailer parking only slot. Do we have some kind of signage on the hill that, you know, no trailer parking or vehicle parking only? I did talk to Tyson a little bit about it because we don't want to put two signs up. It's a split area. The way it was, you know, because of the big oak tree that kind of sits in the middle of it. So he was gonna try to drum up, you know, some potential solutions for that. Because if the sign stays for trailer parking, you know, only for now until we get, you know, a parks committee going and taking a comprehensive look at that area to, you know, maximize it and improve it from an efficiency and safety standpoint, do we make that sign enforceable for now to make Chief Miller's job easier?
Can we comment on that?
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with comment.
Yep.
Well, Tom, that's real unfair to all of us that store our canoes and kayaks down there. You're taking away our parking. Doesn't make any sense for us to be paying the town to store a canoe or kayak down there if we can't get to it. And again, as I said at the last meeting, there are many times, I probably visit that place as much as anybody. Many times there are a lot of empty spots down there. It's weekends like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, nice weekends when most paddlers don't even bother going out on the lake. But during the week, I've never had a problem parking down there. And if that sign stays up, it takes that opportunity away from me. I also would add that oftentimes at the little beach there, because that's where the storage unit is, there are people who come down with their children during the week. They drive down there. They use that beach. That beach is used. And it'd be a shame to block them from using it. I agree with turning it over to this new committee. I think that that's a great idea. But until then, I don't see why you want that sign up there.
Was it a problem before with this, you know, what was the problem that the sign was put up to begin with?
Can I comment on that?
Well, the past chair put out, so
It sounds like the
that was without the board's
It was a
approval.
favor to one individual, right?
What?
I didn't know.
We weren't involved.
We weren't, the board was not
Well,
involved in
I
that
understand that, but I think you are knowledgeable on who.
As far as
Who
the
and why?
sign going up. who
Right.
wanted-
Oh.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to pick up people either, so I don't want to mention names, but we know that's what occurred.
And I know people are parking all over because they're parking in front of the AIS sign because there's no signage delineating that they can't do that as of now.
But I agree with having somebody take a parks group, look at that, and look at who's actually using that park. But to block us from using it until then, that's really unfair to us.
Well, right now, it's not enforceable. So
I understand that.
It's not.
Well, that's why I asked you last time, why not take it down for now?
Well, because
It misleads people.
No, I understand that, but if we're gonna add signage and take a comprehensive look at the plan to remove a sign that's not otherwise gonna go right back up and spend that money, it's not cheap to put signs in. You know, and this affects every taxpayer, and so we have to take that, you know, into consideration. I guess the bigger question is if it's not enforceable at this point in time, you know, is that gonna make it a big problem for you?
Can you just cover it, you know, like put a piece of something over it so that it's not, you know, without physically taking it down, just put like a.
I think it does cause a problem because people are gonna ask why we're not enforcing signs, and I explained to them it's not adopted in our ordinance, so I can't enforce it. So it is a conflict with our guys. My guys have been informed we're not enforcing it.
Right.
So we won't be issuing any type of citations, but it is a sign, but that's up to you guys.
Because I'm speculating by looking at the area, I measured the area, and, you know, 4 trailers in there in the flat is pushing the envelope. It depends how big that fourth trailer is going towards the road. You know, legitimately, you know, 3 trailers and 2 parking stalls in that flat. Of course, if we remove trailers from the hill, that's 4 to 6 parking spots on the hill as well. So there'd be far more parking spots for vehicles than there would be for trailers at that point. Now, it would take, you know, some work to get the signage in place in the right places, so it's some semblance of, you know, it's organized, so it looks organized.
There are very few people there, down there at all, Monday through Friday.
Correct.
And like Tom says, you can get down there and you can park there, which you're
Right.
gonna do. But other than that, there aren't that many people that come down there on weekdays.
Right.
There just aren't. And then in the winter, ice fishermen, but, you know, the mid-season, no, there aren't, you know, there's sufficient parking during those other times, off-period times. It gets crazy busy on nice summer weekends, which is understandable. People want to be early, you know, and I mean, I agree with that, but.
Yeah, I would say from May 1st, like I said, to October 1st, 70-80% of the time, there's no problem. I'm more than willing, first come, first serve, to go somewhere else if I can't park there. That's okay with me.
So we should just take the sign off the post for now?
We could do that, and that would be inexpensive, without
Yeah.
removing the post.
Just take a couple bolts out,
Yeah.
take the sign off, let the post stay there, and then not deal with the hill? Just let it be until we get a Parks Committee to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. That's fair for now?
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
Do we even need a motion to take the
Let's
sign?
set purpose of the signage anyway. I live at the top of Lake Lane, actually on Shore Hills Road. And it's, on weekends, it's very busy. And I'm just
Oh, yeah.
wondering about, I mean, it's like Grand Central Station.
Well, that's
And
part,
sometimes they turn around in my driveway.
That's-
So
that's-
I don't want this to become like more, you know, it's a small residential street. It really doesn't, it shouldn't have a lot of traffic on it.
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, inevitably, there's gotta be an empty spot in the flat, because when the trailers come down, and there's really not turn radius there.
Yeah.
Their best turn radius is to go into the flat, the parking flat, back up, and then go back up the hill, if there's no parking down there. Now, if it's loaded up with parking, it's gonna be a major problem. They're gonna be going probably in the 2 gentlemen's driveways and everything else down there.
And where we live too, we're down the street from our Madonna, it is a mess on the weekends. And so many times we haven't been able to get out of our driveway. Also quite dangerous with families coming down with kids. And, you know, they bring their dogs and the big.
Yeah, well, that's the whole reason for a
Yeah.
Parks Committee, so we
Yeah.
won't get into that tonight.
Can I get, just so I know Mrs. Brzezinski, I know Tom, can I get the other names, please?
I'm Carla Mormon.
Carl Norman.
I'm Marty Tenzer, M-A-R-T-I. It's hard with this mask.
Okay, thank you.
So, we need a motion to remove this, or take the sign off the post?
Temporarily remove the sign.
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Who's gonna do it?
Or where's it gonna be stored?
No, I'll deal with it.
You gonna take it and keep it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring it up to the town hall.
Otherwise,
Where are we at?
nobody does it.
Lake Committee.
Now, I do want everybody to realize that when the Parks Committee gets in place, there's going to be a solution. And it has to be a solution, you know, for all. It can't be segregated out per group. So I just want everybody to understand that, so there's no hard feelings.
As long as they just make sure they're not driving in my driveway to make their U-turn, which they do probably at least once or twice a weekend.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, I'm pretty not happy about
You
that.
know, time at the park, we could take some trees out and make a parking lot.
Yeah.
That gets expensive. All right, that one's rolled off.
Go no further,
I'm
Dave.
glad you guys are.
All right,
Okay.
let's keep going here.
Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, or Joint Rock Lake Committee, oh, where the heck am I here?
Appointments.
Sorry about that, I'm way at the bottom. My eyes are getting blurry here with the mask. Discussion or decision to appointment to the Joint Rock Lake Committee. Well, we have some late news on this one, and I think it has been confirmed,
Yes.
Robin, that there's 2 open seats. So there will be a 2-year appointed seat tonight, and there will be a 1-year appointment seat to finish out the term of Larry Clark.
Larry
Correct.
was just one more year?
Yes, Larry is up for,
Okay.
his term ends next spring.
Okay. All right.
So inevitably, our job got a lot easier. Is there any further discussion on the appointee, or questions for the appointees based on the information and the questionnaire that was sent out to them?
I see Wendy's here.
Very
Was,
patient. That's Susan.
Susan?
And Linda, she must still be babysitting, so I
That was
kind
the
of
one
tried
that
to.
was submitted by email today?
Yes,
Yeah,
and I
late.
tried to kind of keep them up to date that we hadn't gotten to it yet, but she's not here, so.
Okay. Well, the candidates are qualified, there's no question about that. I guess we can address the 2-year appointee first, is the right thing to do here. So I would like to appoint based on some of the things I'm seeing with the Joint Rock Lake Committee and the help that they need, as far as, getting back to the basics of following the ordinance of the Joint Rock Lake Committee, the items that are written in that ordinance, and, doing the necessary things they need to do there, and really putting together, better plans, in maintenance of the plans, funding of plans, and all the processes that go into that, to ready them for the board, so we don't have to spend a lot of time, having to ask questions and getting things back to them to work on some more. We need somebody that can lead, and be able to do that. And so my appointee for the 2-year seat is Wendy Catalani Davies, and that's my suggestion for appointment.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You're hired.
You're hired. Now we have the 1 year to finish out Larry Clark's term. And the next qualified candidate has another skill set that offers a tremendous amount of value to that committee. And so I suggest we appoint Susan Trier to that one year term.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Congratulations.
Okay, I am going
Thank
to
you for showing up.
I will contact both of you, and we'll take care of the oath of office for the positions, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
for stepping forward.
Discussion and/or decision of salt, and brine used for town road and renegotiating the snow plowing contract with Forest Landscaping in construction.
Where do you want to start on this one?
Well, let's
Yeah,
start
you're
with
really playing
the
with
salt,
fire.
should we start with the salt purchase? Because I think I'm not sure what all transpired there. It was a double up on salt from my
Yes.
understanding.
Yeah.
And I understand the argument of the sand.
And I believe you guys had made the motion to forego the use of sand and do strictly salt at that meeting.
Yes.
I don't think we made a motion. Did we?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't remember making any motion.
Hold on, I'll look.
We
Keep
just talked
discussing, I'll
about
look.
increasing the salt order
Okay,
in
Okay.
case we did go to. I stated that I didn't like sand.
Either.
Dave
It's
stated
messy.
that.
Well, we all agree it's messy, but,
Yeah.
and I think, I really don't like to remove things from the toolbox, and the hills can be a massive challenge in some of the neighborhoods. And there's definitely a use for it. I did talk to Forrest about it and about, being able to sit down and talk about, can we do both, keep them separate, frequency, those types of things to try to, adjust some of those things to lessen the sand impact, because we don't need tons and tons of sand on the flats, that
Right.
seems to be going on. And he was very agreeable to, being flexible there.
I think a lot of that depends upon, what the temperature is outside. And you could have a sand pile if you need to go out with a little bit of sand on a hill, and then you'd have your salt pile. If you continue to sweep the sand up off the road, that can be generally a $9,000 to about $12,000 venture to do that alone. Now, we didn't do it last year. I think we did it the year before, which the sand has nutrients, it has arsenic, and it would really be interesting to do a soil test on to see exactly what's all in that sand. Because obviously it's mined. So I don't know. I like the salt. Not that you don't have to have a pile of sand that's ready to go if you get that 2 week of February weather where nothing works. And
I just know there's roads. I know White Oak, so there's some steep hills, Lake Lane's probably another one. Those trucks, they won't make it up the hill without traction, and sand is the traction in those elements. So
You got Karen living right.
yeah, Karen lives at the bottom.
Yeah, the snowplows come down and they have to get out of the truck and throw sand down and bring it back there.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times it happens when they have to dump and back up the hills to get the traction of what they're putting down. Ice is worse.
It happens a lot.
Got another hand up.
And I also think that everybody was very excited about that salt-wise training that was had and issues associated with the salt going into the waterways. And it seems really strange to have the town turn around and go 100% salt when, the whole conversation is the concern about salt getting into the waterways. And I know there are people that are upset about the sand getting in their gravel and the sand this and the sand that. I get that. But to do 100% pivot and go all salt and then, double the salt order seems just really weird to me.
Well, sand is, and I'll get back, because I think this is where the hitch is, because it was allocation. So salt allocation, you have
Doesn't mean you have to take it all.
right, but you have to request it. And this year, I will say the state of Wisconsin really saved us, because we got a good deal on it comparable to a lot of other states. We've lost one of the major salt mines in the country in Louisiana, and I believe Cargill is the manufacturer of it. So now, salt is gonna have to be, basically barged up the Mississippi coming from foreign countries. So, it wasn't probably the wrong move to get the allocation, just in the event, that we have it. But I think there needs to be some kind of balance there.
Let's go back and make a decision how you want to move forward.
The reason we talked about, so we watched that Salt 101, I'm sure you watched it too. Two people that, I want to just make this comment, the two people that were on there and talked, they worked for cities or municipalities that probably use all 100% salt. They never use sand salt mixes, just like the city of Lake Mills uses. What they said is they can reduce by calibration. They preached calibration of the equipment and all this stuff. And what I believe, and I can't verify, I haven't verified this yet, but what I think is those municipalities are probably using 1,000 pounds per lane mile, and through calibration they got it down to 300. Okay, town of Lake Mills is way below that now. So the push was from John Crump and Hope to go to brining or look at ways to reduce salt. Well, in the end, if we eliminated the sand, it did increase the salt usage. I mean, they were at 300 and they said that's what you need to be at. Well, if we went to 300, we'd be at about 250 tons of salt. So we went, at that meeting, we had to get our order in, and we didn't want to err on the side of not having enough, so we doubled it. Well, we went to 160 with 20 in reserve, when we were only ordering 70, I believe, the year prior. So we actually more than doubled it. Like you said, and was said, you don't need to take it all. You just needed it there in case you did want it. I'll speak about the brining too. The brining seems to be a very intricate whole system, needs a lot of education, and people, and cities and counties, they have the full-time staff to manage that and keep a good handle on it. Temperature, all kinds of things relate to that, and what to use, sodium chloride or calcium chloride.
And you have to have a contractor who could do that.
And you have to have the equipment.
And I don't even know, I don't think we found one.
Well, we do, I know you talk, I'll talk in a minute, but.
I know, for the town of Lake Mills, to find a contractor to do that, or have the equipment, purchase the equipment themselves, it's a big capital investment.
I already own all that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
And you stated that before. So, I don't know where I was going now. But anyway.
That's a big subject, Jim, that's all. You don't have to lie about that. It is a big subject.
It's a huge subject, so I don't think the town has the people unless they contract out to somebody else. That's what I was gonna say. The county does it prior to a snow event. That's when they mostly use it. I think once the snow event happens, they start plowing the roads. I don't brining isn't used anymore, then they go back to their salt and.
They do use salt too.
Yeah, they use salt. So the salt usage that the county uses is probably a lot more than the town is using now. So we get complaints on the sand. It's a sand salt mix. And, so there's no win-win situation here other than to protect the lake. You want to reduce the salt. Rock Lake's not that bad yet, but it, eventually could get that bad.
Right, so that was my comments, just, to not necessarily, it sounded like we're all going to go all salt, and I was just thinking that, some kind of having other tools in the box with a little sand is an important thing to keep in. That was where my comment was coming from.
Yeah, and my position now, after looking into this more and talking on the road tour, and probably the best way to do it would be to work with the contractor, cut down on sand, like Tom just said, in certain areas, and determine what areas you're gonna sand and salt, and work with them, and
we'll map it out real well,
Yeah.
so we get a real good plan together well before, winter weather hits. God forbid, I want to get to summer.
Yeah, it was cold this morning.
I am gonna suggest that in the coming year, that, we do investigate brine, and really take a hard look at the data. It's very good data, there's massive cost savings to the taxpayers, and on salt usage alike. It seems really overly complicated, and when I talked with one of the state engineers, they kind of dummy-proofed it for us. So like the county they can't sell to independent contractors, but they can sell to the town. So they have a calibration station that they can produce enough brine for every independent contractor and whatnot in the state. That's the science of it all. You don't want to be the mixing guy, because that's where if you're off a little bit, you can ice your roads, do some of the things that, can cause safety concerns. If we had, the right setup, and it's gonna take time to do this, and at least for a small trial, Jason Forrest, or the Forrest Contracting, is also willing to go over to the county and listen to the whole spiel, and any other contractor that would wanna go, they welcome people to do that. That's not an issue. He is receptive to that, the one contractor we use now. So we're starting to eliminate some of those things. But it's gonna take, probably, a bulk tank that the town would have to buy that the county would fill for us.
Sure.
Right. So that they can tap, the independent contractor can tap into.
It's all the way to Jefferson all the time.
Right. And then, of course, there's the procedural stuff, training and, whatnot as to, giving the heads up before, what kind of weather you're putting that stuff down in and that. I mean, it's, there's a learning curve, right? Whoever does it, you gotta have support behind it. You can't, throw them under the bus right away when something goes wrong.
Yeah, then Mother Nature will throw a curveball, right?
So that would be my suggestion. We look, take a hard look at it here in the next year. It's gonna take time to plan that out anyway. And see where that tool might fit into the toolbox for the town.
Do we know if Forrest is currently doing any calibration?
Well, calibrating sand is tough.
And the drivers, they kind of get the idea about how much they want to use in their route, and then also it depends upon, is it snow, is it ice, is it cold, is it hot? So they have a dial, and then an on-off switch, so.
We've identified 2 quick wins tonight. Mapping out and, focusing a greater level on calibration, and that hopefully spares a lot of different things going on. Costs, salt, sand, and over-application.
Town of Oakland, they always did sand, salt, and then they went salt to bottom ash, and then they went all salt. And they do wet their salt down around by the lake. And their target also is 300 pounds per road mile.
So we need to make a decision on sand, are we going to, do we really need to make, sand is fairly readily available, I take it.
Yeah.
We don't
we don't have to buy that, purchase that.
Decision on that. We do have to make a decision on the renegotiation of the salt contract though.
Yeah, I think, make a motion that we renegotiate the contract with Jason Forrest and discuss with him the appropriate areas to use sand and salt and calibration, and also pay for their the time to go to the education session. I assume we're gonna pay for that.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
We should.
That makes sense. You got the second on this?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay.
Discussion in our decision of forming a committee with appointments to serve on the Town Hall Facilities Committee. I think, Jim, you laid a lot of great groundwork for the tasks and kind of formation of that committee.
So I believe, Tom, this is yours or is this Jim's?
I retyped his
He
out.
retyped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this?
He's got way better handwriting than
I don't have a typewriter anymore. Replaced it.
So what we would be looking at, this would be something that we would give to people who show interest versus the actual like noticing or seeking people, or do we want to integrate all of this into the actual notice?
Well, that's a good question.
I think you need to put it in the notice because the questions relate to the
Okay.
subject matter,
Okay.
kind of, right? Don't you?
I agree. I think it's helpful to have that information to garner the people that,
They'll know what their charter is or what their task is, and they can
Right.
decide if they are a good fit or not.
Okay.
It'd be a good deal to standardize that in the future for all, for any appointment really to have those specifications in there.
Okay. I just want to make sure I know just how much of this needs to be posted, and it sounds like all of it. Just get it organized in a fashion that's going to work.
Yep.
Okay.
You posting these on the website?
It'll be posted and it'll go out as to the subscribers of the website, so they'll get a notification
I'll have to
of it.
rework that Parks one a little bit for you too.
Yeah, and
'cause
the
we'll make
Parks
that
one will do the same, and they'll get it posted.
And we can have a date? We're gonna, a month out there or 2 months?
go for the actual committee
I think-
structure.
You stretch it out too far, they wait till the last minute to consider it too, so even a month, I think.
I guess the
June.
bigger question is what kind of time frame is the total project, the total plan on? Like 2026, is it 2024? I mean, because that helps kind of decide, do they need to meet quarterly or do they need to meet?
Exactly. I think we're at a point now where we're just basically waiting for the architect to come back with it. I don't even know.
And I think the architect's waiting for us to come up with this group that's gonna give them more direction.
Okay. Okay. Site selection is the first thing as far, and determining what to do with the town hall. I mean, we have an offer to purchase this property, but the timeline for it is ridiculous for the town's purposes.
Well,
We have to have a place to live.
Right.
Or meet.
Function.
Right. My comment on, I guess, on how often to meet, whether it's monthly, quarterly, is, you know, the longer distance you get away, the more traction you lose.
Yeah.
You know, if you're meeting frequently, monthly, it just keeps everything engaged and, you know, from a program standpoint of getting something across, you know, where we need it to get to, it's the better way to do it. My suggestion.
Well, I think.
Sounds fair enough to me.
Yeah. I think we should keep moving ahead on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe this should be out there for, till July. And the July meeting, is it June? Yeah, July meeting.
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
I think that's, yeah, reasonable.
Then we could select a committee and have a meeting with the architect and start going.
The parks one, like to try to get done in June. I'll
Okay.
get that one out of the way.
Gotcha, yeah, I was just wondering.
It's gonna be a quick time frame, but whether, you know, if we even fill a good portion of it, I'd be happy.
Jim, you had mentioned the Legion at one time. You a member there? Or?
Chief Miller.
I went and stopped and talked to them, and they were willing to do it $50 a session.
Oh.
They said we could use their facility.
The toughest thing, did you discuss for elections? That is the hardest.
Right, I was just,
And
it
they're
was an
okay with
idea that was brought up in the discussion. I went there and talked to them.
Okay. So even, you know, we have the budget for elections, so if we are paying a rental for an event that's related to elections, it would come out of that budget, you know, that kind of thing, but, yeah.
The only problem with the Legion and the elections is you're down there by
Real
City
close to the
Hall.
city.
Right down the block, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
a good
be
point.
more confusing than here even
Yeah.
for people.
And I think we have it, I know for sure 2 elections next year. So possibly more, depending if we need primaries.
Well, I just don't see that we should sell this property until we got a new place to go. It's just my opinion.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, just a matter of how fast would it sell when you did, when you were ready.
Yeah.
You don't wanna miss a good opportunity, if it's a good opportunity, I don't know. We might be happy here for another 10 years, I don't know. Just be happy, right?
These are all volunteering to help with elections then, right? You're gonna direct traffic outside?
Yeah, which is, you know, smaller now than it was before.
I got my yellow vest. Yes. Okay, so, we need a motion to,
I'd make a motion that we put the notice out for the Town Hall Facility Committee.
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Any correspondence?
I provided you a copy of the letter from Mrs. Hammond over in London in regards to the stop sign and the bush that we asked her to remove from the ditch.
Why don't you read that for us? Kitty?
It's handwritten, it's a little hard to read.
I couldn't, it was
It took a bit to get through it.
hard for me to read.
I think that the takeaway that I got from it was that at some point she will be removing the bush, which was the point of the letter we had sent to her.
Right, and as I said, talking to Tyson, the sign It's been sitting in that bush since he's been involved with the county, which is 5 years or more.
So we'll-
And it's visible, the sign is visible, it wasn't like it's laying on the ground, it's plainly visible.
So basically, it's gonna be one of those that we have to follow up on, we gotta keep on our to-do list, so we don't lose track of it.
Right.
And just make sure it gets completed.
Right, Tyson's was gonna mark this week, and the sign was supposedly gonna be relocated
Okay.
out of the ditch, because it was in the ditch next to the culvert. That one was,
Right,
which,
which will make it easier for her to remove the bush, and then it should be resolved.
yeah, so by early next week, it sounded like it was gonna be a completed project
Okay.
on the sign front. And I'll keep in touch with him. He's gonna let me know, because he's gonna send pictures when it's done and everything. So
Okay.
we'll have a good idea.
Other than that, that's about all I really have going on.
We did get that, from school district
Yeah, that
Cambridge
came in late.
Oh, yes.
for the, Koshkanon Solar Farm
Yeah, that's a hot topic over there.
meeting, May 17th, 6 o'clock PM, Cambridge Gymnasium. Does this involve, this really, it's not in our township, right? It's in
No,
Deer-
that one is not, no. There's the one on Highway 18, gets pretty close, but.
I think it's something
A lot of those projects going
maybe to
on.
kind of keep tabs on, because if they move into this area.
Yeah, if they move into Town Lake
We need
Mills.
to have an idea how they handle it and what the issue is.
It's a process.
May 17th.
May 17th, he said it's 6 p.m.
The worst trouble
I
is.
have the note somewhere.
With the whole thing
My
with that
emails.
is, it depends on what the kilowatt is, and if it becomes a public service commission, you're really kinda out of it.
Okay.
And for the June meeting, for any additional correspondence, we will have to be reviewing the liquor licenses, and they've all got their applications and such in their hands. They should be filling them out and returning them. So I'll have background checks that I'll need you to do once they start getting those in.
For next month.
For next month, yep. To be renewed so that they can start
Yeah.
July 1st.
All right, meeting scheduled, May 25th, 2021, Board of Review, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Town Hall. June 1st, 2021, Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 p.m. to meet virtually. Now, is that still going to take place? You mentioned something about a virtual thing meeting.
Right now, the Joint Rock Lake Committee is the only committee that's doing it virtually. I have been charging the subscription fee that I pay for my credit card to their account, since they're the only ones using it right now. It's $15.81 or something a month for that subscription. I guess it's always been kind of their choice as to how they approach this, and it sounds like Stanley, he's not here tonight because he prefers virtual. You let them continue to decide. Yeah, I guess. it's up to
Well,
you.
he referenced the July date, and the July date fits to the state of Wisconsin's mold, where they expect to be 100% back in the office.
Okay. So it might be their last virtual meeting, is that what
In
you're saying?
July, so I would suspect we just hope, hopefully we remain optimistic that they hit the target and we just run, let it run until then. If we need to make adjustments, we make adjustments.
Right.
June 1, 2021, Plan Commission meeting, 7 p.m. at the Town Hall. June 8th, 2021, Town Board meeting, 7 p.m. at the Town Hall. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will make it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.